All right, looks like Wimkin is popping up. I'm going to go ahead and start streaming that. We good?
Let me look. Yes.
Cool. Thank you. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. New month, September. Olivia and I are in the house. Kat, thank you for liking the show. It's got a little bit of a new graphic up on the top announcing likes.
That's cool.
And subscriptions. Yeah, I'm going to try it out. It's supposed to change the bar down below, the donation bar, but it didn't do that, so I got to get a hold of Streamlabs and find out if it's worth it to do it. But welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. This is going to be an interesting one tonight. This is going to tick off a lot of Groypers and the alt-right, and I don't care. I really don't care. Like, I'm going to put my stuff in with guys like Justin Barclay, you know? Good conservatives. Just, I'm done. There's no reason why we can't, you know, challenge some of these thought process, from Tucker Carlson all the way to Nick Fuentes and guys like that. Folks, stick with us. You'll know what we're talking about in a minute. We've got 10 seconds. September is upon us. Stick around. We'll be back in 3 minutes on the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me Show, otherwise known as The DUM Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The DUM Show on social media or thedumshow.com.
What's going on, everybody? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. I am proud to announce that the Documents of Freedom are back in stock. It's a 3-book collection, leather-bound, by Arcadia Publishing. Starts out with the Bill of Rights, and it's the complete edition of the rights, so you can look up and reference anything your heart desires. Declaration of Independence, with revisions and founder images included, beautifully illustrated. And last but not least, what would Documents of Freedom be without the Constitution of the United States of America in its entirety? The box is handmade by PFC Flags, custom engraving, all 100% made in the USA from the nails to the glue. And we have a 5-star rating, satisfaction guaranteed, 150 sold 5 stars or better. It is so important, especially in today's society, to ensure that the younger generation has these books available in the future. Get them for your family and friends, available right now. Head on over to thedumshow.com/books. Thanks so much. step into a Wimkin.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show.
They can't see it.
Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Wow. Those look fun. Documents of Freedom, folks, back in stock. We shipped out for which it stands over the weekend. It was good to have those out. We're going to re-envision the books that we're going to be putting in there now that we have the contract with Arcadia. We were a little limited, and now we can do really what we want. Liv has some exciting news. She wants to talk to you about the DUM Club, and I hope you guys don't mind the new logo when it says somebody likes or subscribes or donates. I thought it matched the motif a little more effectively. Let me know what you think. If you hate it, if you love it, if you just don't care, wave your hands around in the air, jump around, jump around. Liv, go ahead.
It did not pop up our donation.
Well, give it a second.
We just got a donation, and it didn't. It shows it in there, but it didn't pop it up on the screen.
New
there
donation right then. New donation. Amy Bordeaux, $10.80, and it doesn't use the ka-ching thing, so we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I missed that. I like
it popped up. It popped up. So we're gonna have to stay at. You know what I could do? I could always. You know what? Let me try one thing. We're right here. We can do it together.
Yes.
I first of all, I missed everybody. It's good to be back. It's nice to be here. It was tough to take that much time off, to be completely honest. I liked it, and I didn't like it. How about you, Liv? Did you enjoy your time off?
Yes, but I didn't have time off from my other job, so it really wasn't time off. It was just regular for me.
Yeah, but for me.
You needed it.
It was like the first time I've actually taken off in a long time. Let's see. That's YouTube subscribers. Let's just do this real quick. And I want to do tips. Okay. And then I want to do a sound. What was it? Was it a ka-ching?
It was a ka-ching, I think.
Money. Because I want to, we just got a super chat coming up. That should pop up. Can you see it?
I can see it in chat, but I can't see it on the screen yet. It's a little bit slower, I've noticed.
Here's what we're going to do. Okay, somebody send something now. Let's see if we can do this. And we'll fix this. Because sometimes it's better just to leave things the way they were. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm waiting for this to hit. Save settings. Default. Back to dashboard. Okay, I got to run a test. Download. Widgets. There they are.
There you go.
Okay, so that's got to come out. Oh, someone else do something. Do you have another donation to put in?
Not yet. That was the only one, and I appreciate that.
Put in a $50 gold club, because we had quite a few gold clubs today.
Yes,
we're almost done,
did.
folks. We're almost done. Sorry. Almost done.
Hang on.
You can do Violet, $50 gold club. Okay. And we're gonna start getting. Olivia's gonna tell you all about the DUM Club in just a second. That looks good.
Okay, looking for it.
Let's close
So it was Violet was the.
Yep. $50. Violet, and then we should be good. All right, so Olivia is going to walk us through the DUM Club, and I've got some exciting news, and we've got some meh news. So Olivia, how much longer?
And I hit cancel because my
okay.
mouse is being all silly.
It's okay. You're fine. You're doing great.
It's being really slow and sluggish right now. Let me take it.
There it goes. That works out, right?
Yes.
Does
I like that better.
Okay. So do I. It just so I'm gonna have to go fight them for $19.99 over at Streamlabs because I wanted to try Streamlabs out because I was kind of excited about them and what they've offered, but I wasn't too happy with this goal thing. So we'll have to see. All right. So Liv, you focused?
Yes,
You ready?
I'm focused.
All right. So Liv, tell them about the Dumb Club. Tell them what's going on and what the skinny is on the Dumb Club, please.
All right. So we are completely revamping the Dumb Club. I looked through it this weekend and everything that the gold, the silver, and the bronze members get, and a lot of it isn't relevant anymore because a lot had to do with Spreely. So we're going to revamp it and redo some stuff. We need to sit down to really finalize the list, but I thought of a couple of things. One, we're working with PFC flags, and I'm not quite sure which membership this is going to be on, but you get 15% off at PFC flags anytime you order anything from there. I'm in the process of reaching out to some other patriotic companies to see if we can get discounts off of there as well. I don't have my notes in front of me because I didn't know I was talking about it.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Well,
because all my notes are out there on the paper. Of
let's
everything
just
I
be
wrote
really
down.
let's just be really transparent. Spreely screwed us over, and we're supposed to take care of gift boxes, supposed to take care of discounts to the Cost Club, and none of those things took place. And Cost Club, I literally had to pull teeth to get it done. And so Olivia just took charge of it and said, "That's it, I'm doing it." And I'm like, okay. So she's come up with some really novel ideas for the club. So we want to just let everyone know. So we are working on the quarterly gift boxes. We want to keep that word. We imagine doing those. We even thought about doing a monthly thing where if you're a member for a month, you get a sticker. Thank you, Mr. Stump. Appreciate it. I got to fix this box. Oh, come on. There we go. Focused on doing the box. You get a sticker for 1 month. Second month, you get a coffee cup. Third month, you get a shirt. You go to the 6 month mark, you get a hoodie. And then maybe, at the 1 year mark, like $150 to the shop or something like that. We're not sure, but we want to do something special for you. So I thought I would let everyone know what was going on with the Dumb Club, just to be real transparent. What has been successful will stay, and what needs to go will go. And I can't thank everybody enough for making it such a special time, helping us out. You guys are amazing, and we love you and we appreciate you. You guys have kept us. I mean, even right now, there's the donations coming through. You guys are just a testament. And it's funny, as I was really bummed out to be off, and I almost came in. And
I wouldn't let him.
She wouldn't let me.
I said no.
Because I felt so bad. I'm like, it's been 4 days, and Todd is flipping out, and Todd is like, are you guys on? What's going on? Are you guys bankrupt? And we're like, oh my God, no, we're not bankrupt. Holy crap. Angela, thank you.
You fixed the thing I was going to ask you about, so thank you.
I fixed it.
I know you did. You knew exactly what I was going to ask you, didn't you?
Yeah, I know you, and I know what you like, and I know what you don't like. It's because I know what to do with my little finger.
Exactly.
So anyway, all right. So here's what it comes down to. Dumb Club's getting a full revamp. We're taking all third party out. I mean, there's a reason why our store is ranked top 1% in Shopify. I mean, it's nationally one of the best online shops there is. And with almost 152 certified 5-star ratings, it's amazing. God, you guys, thank you, everybody. Jeez Louise. Must have been pay week or something, but thank you, guys and girls. We appreciate you. All right, so we got some good stuff tonight. And I think, Victoria, listen, I need anyone. Okay, first of all, real quick, anyone who feels like taken by the Dumb Club, we get it. I can tell you they got no money from us when it came to it. But if you would like, we are totally willing to refund every single penny to anyone. I know some people paid for a full year. We're willing to give it all back, unless you're willing to wait. And I promise you we'll make it up to you. We've already got PFC flags signed on. I know my coffee producer is signed on. Which is exciting for a coffee club type thing.
We're going to try and do some special guests for invite only shows, and it'll probably be a Zoom meet, I'm thinking, but that'll be a part of it as well.
Yeah, and you know, and other things like, besides that, you know, we want to keep the birthday messages, but we want, you know, there is a place for y'all to go to sign up for that. We want to make sure the videos are in the right place, the photos are in the right place. It was rushed, and it was not good. It's not up to my standards. So Olivia is going to take it over, and I'm going to implement the ideas. I'm going to work the code, and I'm going to do all of that type of stuff. All right. So I hope everyone's good. I appreciate you. I really do. And I know for a fact that we'll make this. We even want to have a Christmas ornament that we give out to everybody every year, and little things like that. So we're gonna make this thing special. Just give me some time, and we got
a Christmas card too, personalized Christmas card.
That's fine. We've got the app coming out for the phone for Android and Apple. Jason's working on that. As soon as that launches, we're diving into the club and really taking some time to get that thing right.
Which is funny. My mom asked me about the club or the app, if it was up yet, when I talked to her today.
Trust me, we're trying. It's Jason's humping for it, and he's trying to run a national fentanyl test and do that. So anyway, let's go. Let's go. We got a lot to do. So I want to get everybody in the conversation. So phone lines are officially open. If you want to get in, you know, if Groypers want to call, you guys can. Listen, you guys need some comforting. You know, Daddy Nick, Pedo Mustache Fuentes, obviously he's hurt your feelings, and you guys need someone to rely on. And I won't say I told you so. I won't do that. You know, you guys went ahead and prop this guy up as, your Nick Fuentes to Adolf Hitler, and he let you down. And you found out that just hating Jews isn't enough. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Tucker Carlson. And this is kind of an I told you so show. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this kind of is an I told you so show. But it's one that we all can participate in. Darla, you never have to wish to send more. Anything is enough. Wow, someone's already calling in. Yeah, this is Matt from the Dumb Show, and you're on with Matthew and Olivia. Show. How can we help you?
Hello, Matt. This is Kevin.
What's up, Kev? How you doing, buddy?
I have a question for you specifically.
Okay.
During World War II, we had the Nuremberg trials after World War II. After.
Yep.
And a lot of Germans were held accountable for their actions during the war.
Correct.
Why was Japan given a free pass?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
You think it's because we nuked them?
No, I don't. I think there is a very big difference between Japanese doing horrendous and horrible things to soldiers and enemy combatants versus taking after civilians. And the Jews posed no physical threat to the Germans. They were no military threat. They were in higher council. They ran the treasury. They ran a lot of the prominent positions in government, but they certainly weren't a threat to the Reich when it came to a military standpoint. The
that
Japanese
also fits in with MacArthur running Japan.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand. Well, MacArthur was involved in the Philippines against the Japanese predominantly. MacArthur created guerrilla warfare and really held the Japanese advance to the islands, and we had the birdwatch stations with the English and the Americans there due to MacArthur's constant, supply line tactics of guerrilla warfare on the Philippine Islands, and it was an incredible stalwart for the Japanese advancement into that area. And a lot of people feel that that's where the war certainly wasn't lost, but it slowed down the ability for them to forward movement into Papua New Guinea and other places that they wanted to take. So, and probably the reason why Australia didn't fall, because it allowed us to go ahead and run operations from the Philippine Islands and hit Australia where they wanted to go ahead and take certain ports on the northern part of the country. But anyway, my point being, I think the Japanese, honestly, although were barbaric and did horrendous things to American soldiers and anyone who opposed them, and Chinese, and it ultimately was not on a mass scale to what happened to the Jews. So Japan was never held to that level of standard. That's my guess. It's really not based on any fact. It's just looking and comparing.
Opinion.
Yeah, that's my opinion. It's not fact. I mean, I would have to sit and think about this a while, even though I love World War II history. There was no real benefit for the Japanese, but we had decimated the Japanese to a point of we had killed a ton of admirals, a ton of ground officers. I mean, we had decimated the Japanese ranks.
Do you think it had a lot to do with a lot of the high-ranking officers committing harikari or
you committed
suicide?
seppuku, right? They committed seppuku and a traditional disembowelment and committed suicide from saving face. That's my point. Is we had decimated their ranks. Iwo Jima was although it was a complete just blood suck from the Marine Corps standpoint, battles like that bled the Japanese from 1,000 paper cuts. But once again, I also think you had the European pressure, right? You saw a lot of Europe come down on Germany, and everybody wanted to bite. And the war ended so abruptly that a lot of people started to matriculate back into society and weren't being held accountable. So I think that's also there was a slake for lust, a taste for it, where Europe wanted payback and wanted to ensure not only did they ensure Germany never rose up again, but that they took all capability.
They wanted to eradicate it.
Yeah, I believe that's really the focus, is they wanted to kill the Nazis and pay them back. So there was just a different. Most people weren't associated. Japan essentially took 16 different territories and were horrible to the Filipinos, were horrible to the Falkland Islands, were horrible to the Chinese, were horrible to even the Koreans. But those people never had a platform on the world stage anyway. They were always put at the back end table. So Europe, though, I mean, you had France, you had Poland, you had, Austria, you had, every single country in that area, including Finland, Norway, Sweden.
All
of them. They all wanted a piece of Germany because they were all impacted. So I just think there was just a push because it impacted world powers, and they were like, you know what, you're done. That's my gut. Yeah.
It's a lot to digest.
You should stick around tonight because we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson's interview with the World War II historian that basically said, well, Nazis didn't mean to kill all those Jews. They just rounded them up and didn't know what to do with them, so they all died. I'm going to pick that shit apart, and I'm going to pick Tucker Carlson apart because his platform has just basically become a Nazi, mouthpiece. So I'm really like, if I do anything on this show, it's going to be going after these Nazi pukes. I'm just, the left always say, oh, they're Nazis. You know what? There is a very real Nazi sentiment in this country, and they may not be glorified Third Reich that want to gas Jews, but they are absolutely white nationalists. They are Christian nationalists who believe that the Jews are dirty, filthy animals that need to be eradicated from the planet. They believe this. And it's people like Nick Fuentes and Stu Peters and, people like Candace Owens who's just asking questions. We're going to talk about that tonight. But there's a lot tonight, Kevin, that you might like. So
a long time ago, when I was in, I believe, the 7th grade, we were learning history, and my teacher was Jewish. Mm-hmm. And we were learning about World War II and the Holocaust. And I asked him respectfully, I said, why do we have to learn about this? This happened so long ago. And his answer to me has grown more profound the older I got. His answer was simple. He said, Kevin, we have to learn about this because history repeats itself.
That's right.
And history repeats itself most often when history is forgotten.
That's correct.
That's why we can never forget this, and we can never allow this to happen again.
Yeah.
At the time, it didn't impact me at the time. But as I grew older, it's impacted me more and more. I got goosebumps just thinking about his answer.
Yeah. It's, do you know the etymology of that saying by chance?
No.
Where it comes from?
No.
Sorry, I was looking up something else. It's Shakespeare, and it comes from the derivative of the saying, what is past is prologue. It's actually what's past is prologue. There is no what is, but it's obviously moved its way out of the, Shakespearean language, and it's what is past is prologue. So what has happened will happen again. And there's also another great one. I hope to give you some goosebumps here, Kev, is Arthur Schopenhauer, who is, in my opinion, one of the most astute philosophical minds that wasn't predominantly a philosopher. But Schopenhauer said, every parting gives a foretaste to death. And this is something my teacher had said to me, and I didn't understand the quote. And this was Mr. Churchill, surprisingly enough, because we'll be talking about Winston Churchill tonight. But Mr. Churchill is one of my favorite teachers. In fact, when I came into my freshman class and put my feet up on the desk, he looked at me and he goes, Matt Spear, I know your brother Wade and I know your sister Kelly. Wade was a little strange, but I liked him. Your sister is very popular and I love her. And you're a fucking asshole. Take your feet off the desk. Pardon my French to those who know that I'm stopping my cussing, but it was important for dramatic effect. My mouth hit the floor. And I have went back to see Mr. Churchill. I don't even know if he's still alive now, but was such an amazing teacher for me and really helped me find my bearings as a student. But I apologize for the language, but it was amazing to hear a teacher talk like that, like my father would. He is a Marine and helped me understand things. But when he said the words, every parting gives a foretaste to death, I didn't quite understand it. It's when I was leaving his class and I was going to move to Colorado. And he just gave me a big hug and he said, Matt, I wish you the best. And I saw him a couple other times, but I didn't look up Schopenhauer until I was reading a series of books and the quote came up. So I started diving into it and I couldn't really find the definition to what it meant. And although I know what a foretaste is and I know what death is and I know what parting means, I couldn't really put my finger on it. And basically what Schopenhauer was trying to say is that when you leave someone, you need to pretend that that is the last time you will ever see that person again. And minus good or bad, whatever you leave unsaid, that is also fine, but be prepared to leave it unsaid forever. And it's kind of the way that I've lived my life is I always tell people how I feel and I always tell them the truth. And although it comes off as harsh sometimes and it comes off that I'm cold and an a-hole, which is true, I can totally see why people find me to be almost Rain Man-esque as far as my emotional capacity. But there is a true intent behind why I tell people how I feel, and I'm very honest with my opinions, is because I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. So I try to tell people often how much I love them, how much I care about them, how important they are to me, because I have to assume that either I will leave this mortal coil unprepared or they will. So that's a quote that has inspired me, and I figured something maybe you would enjoy hearing.
Yeah. Not as powerful.
Yeah.
I didn't get the meaning of it until you told me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why philosophers get paid the big bucks and you and I are just knuckle pounders. And, but I do appreciate, a good literary reference. So I appreciate you sharing that with me because I say what is past is prologue on my show all the time. And that's really what it means is if you forget history, stick around a while, it's doomed to repeat itself. So cool, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to let you get on with the show.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for calling, Kev. Hey, say hi to Olivia. Say hi to Olivia.
Night.
Hey, say hi to Olivia, Kevin.
I'm just chopped liver over here. Hi, Kevin. Excuse me, Jevib.
I figured out why you sound different. I figured out why Matt sounds different on the phone.
Okay.
It's my speaker system on my computer.
Yeah, it's probably yeah.
That's a lot of bass that makes you sound older.
Well, you have to understand, I'm also running it through what would be a $30,000 control panel 15, 20 years ago. And now is a $700 control panel. So this has an Aphex processor, a de-esser, It makes my voice have that radio feel. So when I get on the phone, it sounds very different because my mid range is prominent, my highs are prominent, and bass isn't. And Olivia will tell you I have a very bassy voice. I can get very deep, and that doesn't translate on the phone, so it sounds a little bit tinny. It's a lot warmer on the show. Make sense? Yeah.
Yep, it sure does.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
I'm going to let you get on with the show.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you. That's Kevin, folks.
I want to watch.
See you, buddy. That's Kevin. Kevin's a friend of the show. We love him to death. Doesn't matter. He gives $10.80 or more every single show, guaranteed, and it's like clockwork. So I just got Justin Barclay's confirmation. He'll be coming on the Don't Unfriend Me show, and this is a huge get. Justin is a radio DJ for iHeart. I believe he's in Detroit, Michigan. He is very well known. He actually sits in for Glenn Beck when Glenn is off air. Justin Barclay. Liv, are you aware who Justin Barclay is?
I have no idea. I saw the email, but not a clue.
Yeah, Justin he's a guy who we've spent some time together in the sense of on Facebook, kind of mutual appreciation for each other's memes, and we share each other's stuff. And he always has nice things to say, but he's a very smart, affable human being. And I told him, hey, I don't cuss anymore. Will you come on? Or I'm trying not to. But yeah, so Justin Barclay is coming on. He just accepted, and he's like, dude, I'd love to come on. So
well, Yenny's excited. Did you hear her?
She should be. Justin is a very, very cool guy who I've admired for a long time. So we're going to get him on, and it's cool that he accepted. So stay tuned. Damani Felder this Friday, another great guy as well. So we're getting some good people on the show, which is what we like to do. All right, we got a lot to do, and Livy, I need you in this one because you got to keep me grounded. First things first, parenting. Yeah, well, Justin shares my memes a lot, and I really didn't share his, so I was like, I better start sharing Justin's memes because I feel like a jerk. And so we had talked like a year ago, and I'm like, dude, and that's when he was transitioning into Detroit radio and was going on iHeart full time, and he's like, yeah, I'd love to, and we just he never called back, and I was like, well, I've got my own stuff to do. I'm not going to worry about it. He's busy. So I just reached out to him earlier today, and I was just like, dude, I saw you shared one of my memes, and just want to let you know, I know maybe you were trepidatious to come on my show because of my language, but I'm really cleaning it up on the live show. And he was like, yeah, I'd love to come on. And dude, thanks for thinking of me. So we're going to get him on. He's a good human being. Olivia, first things first, we're going to go into a video that is parenting. And this, I'll tell you what, I don't like yelling at my kids anymore. And the whole CPS thing, when that happened, it bothered me, it bothered me. And it really had me check my parenting skills. Like Ethan today. Ethan came out this morning and he's like, hey, he comes upstairs. He wasn't like, hey, he's in tears. And it was 9:00. And I thought it was Hayden because Hayden doesn't leave till 9. I'm like, hey, did you miss your bus, honey? And he's like, no, I did. And I'm like, Ethan never misses his, but it's like, what? So he was really emotional. And I'm like, bud, why are you crying? He's like, because I missed school. And I said, dude, everything's going to be okay. You're allowed to make a mistake. You made a mistake. Move on. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it be, I'd probably have yelled and whatever. But learning to be a little more patient with the kids. But this is an interesting thing because this also comes up in a topic with Ethan is that we had to set him straight like in the middle of summer. And it wasn't a far cry from this. It was pretty intense. Liv, I want your opinion. Here you go.
Like she crazy, cursing at her, telling her what you won't do. You won't clean your room. You won't do what you want to do. And you talk to your mother like that? Like you tough? Do you think you tough, little man? Talk to me like you talk to your mother. Talk to me. You think you tough, don't you? Boss up on me. Cuss me out. Tell me you ain't gonna do what I say do. I dare you. I dare you. Why you do it to her? Why you talk to her disrespectfully? Why? Little boy, answer me. Why do you talk to your mother disrespectfully? You don't know why you do it. Today I'm gonna help you find out why. And today it ends. Today it ends. Do you understand? Yes, sir. You will not call your mother out of her name ever again.
So my first question is, why are they recording this? That with everything that is going on, with the fact that taking your child's tablet or phone or not allowing them to eat 6 snacks right before dinner is child abuse, why the hell are you recording you yelling at your child?
Yeah.
I don't find anything wrong with this video. If what that kid was doing was cussing at his mom and sassing back to his mom, he absolutely deserves that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you would do the same thing. I mean, you had to look at Hayden and you raised your voice a little bit with Hayden because Hayden's starting to get snippy with me.
Yeah.
Like real snippy with me. And she was snippy last night at me. She was snippy this morning. Last week when I wasn't on the show, I'm doing my homework and we got into it. So I didn't get to finish my homework. But she's like, I treat people how they treat me and you treat me with disrespect. So I treat you with disrespect. Yeah, no. So
yeah, she heard it from me.
Yeah. So kids,
because I let it stew. I let it sit for 24 hours. Like when she told me this story, she's like, well, mom lipped off to me. So I lipped off to her back. I'm like, okay, so why do you think that's okay? And you realize that's your mother and you need to cut her some slack. And she works this many hours a week. She's always driving you around. She's always getting you food. She's always taking, and I got her disposition and it was, she felt a little sunlight. And she thought she could take it. So she did. She ran with it. Well, you know, I've had enough. She's been disrespecting me for a long time and that needs to stop. And I'm like, okay, all right. I said, are you sure you've considered everything? She goes, okay, yeah, I have. And I said, all right, well, and then I thought about it and I went to sleep on it. And I got mad and I had to go ahead and call it out. And this is an old video. And of course, the first question is, why are you recording? Because here's my thing, is that if I'm going to discipline my children now, and it's going to a point where I could say something or do something that ultimately would get me in trouble, I may record it for my own protection to make sure that there was no cussing, there was no physical violence, and he can say that he has a recording. Now, that's just me using the other side of the brain, but I don't think it should be posted. I think it's a private conversation, but I also have seen videos where, if you remember a couple years ago, there was that black Kung Fu teacher who took kids without fathers. And when they would cry, he would challenge them and have them do push-ups on their knuckles and do it with them and not strip them of their confidence. And those were very tough love situations. I will tell you this. Raising a girl is hard. It's hard because the double standards towards women are very much different than boys. But boys are also going to be 200 and some odd pounds and tall and big and quick tempered in my family. And if you don't nip that in the bud right away, you're going to be fighting that thing when he hits 16 or 17. So I would say disciplining with a firm voice, loud, is a far cry from abuse. But I think we've grown soft in this country and we're seeing some of the things we're seeing because we don't discipline our children anymore. What do y'all think? What do you guys think? It's something that...
I have a lot to say on the subject, but I really can't go into much detail, but I can tell you that children these days need discipline.
Yeah.
And this soft parenting, this gentle hands, this never telling them no, this no discipline whatsoever sucks. It really does. And I look at the way we raised our children and I appreciate more and more each day.
Yeah.
Because I can look at some children and see the way they act and see the temper tantrums they throw in public. And my children never did that. My kids never once.
Never. No,
Once.
not one.
threw a temper
Not
tantrum.
one time. Not
Never
once.
Once. And I think, and my mom hated this, but I think it had a lot to do with when we were in public shopping and we would see a little kid throwing a temper tantrum, like an ungodly temper tantrum on the floor, kicking, screaming, yelling. I would sit back where we could see them, but where mom or dad couldn't see us. And I would make the kids watch. And I would say, what is this kid doing wrong? Why do you think they're doing it? What do you think they could be doing different? And the last question was, if you ever did that in public, what would happen to you? They never. The one time they acted out in Walgreens, the one time, oh my God, they were not happy when we got home that night. But we always raised them with respect. And yes, we had a firm hand. But they needed it, because when it came to Hayden's rebellious years at 10 and 11 and 12, and Ethan is going through his rebellious stage right now.
He's trying.
He's trying. he's getting there.
He's trying.
But it would be a lot harder to rein them back in if we wouldn't have raised them with discipline.
Right.
Because once they hit a certain point without that discipline, there's not much you can do at all.
Right. You're chasing. It's like doing pain management on, like morphine.
Yeah.
If you don't get the dosage right when you wake up, you're going to be in pain no matter what, and you can't get ahead of it. Like with my back surgery, oh, that was the worst. They put me in as a 165-pound man, and I was 245. Oh, I woke up screaming, trying to rip my tubes out. It hurts so bad.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, it hurt. I mean, you guys got to understand, drilling into your spine, that's not fun, and it hurts. And they got to do some abuse to your body when they're doing that.
Yeah, a healthy
real
amount
quick,
of fear. Oh, what's up?
Real quick. Somebody wanted to call in. The phone number is in the lower right-hand corner. It's Liv. Put your hand up.
Right there.
All the way down. Yep. Right.
It's so hard to do this.
I know. You
It's
learn
backwards.
You learn the trick after some time. So
like over here.
If you want to call in, you can call in. What else we got on this? Because we got a long night.
It's a healthy dose of fear is a good thing
Kids.
for a child.
And they don't-
Absolutely a good thing.
Right.
And they need to know. And they need to know when you say something that you're serious. And one time, I think the kids, they may have been like 7 and 4. And I think we went to Petco or something. And they kept running around. They kept playing with the dog toys at the register. They weren't listening. I looked at them. I said, put the dog toys down. We're leaving. They didn't. I said, we're leaving. Put the dog toys down. They didn't. So we walked out of the store. And we could see them because we were hiding behind the door. We could see them every second of the way, but they couldn't see us. And it took them 5 minutes to realize mom and dad weren't there. That's how much they were not listening to us that day. And then the look of panic and utter shock that we actually left them was, and we let them stew. We let them run around. We let them stew. We let the panic set in for about 5 minutes before we went and got them. And then we had a talking to them. And guess what? When I say I'm leaving, they follow me now. They do not. And
Oh
they
yeah,
don't wait.
they learned that lesson a long time ago.
And you have to teach them. And if you don't, they're never going to listen to you.
There's a lot of people who I hear from that say, "Hey, I've lost my kids. They don't talk to me anymore." And this comes from a father and mother who I removed from my life completely, and a sister and a brother, and all at different times. And my brother did it to me and really just excommunicated me from his life. And I've never had an interest to go back, to the point where I didn't go to a Thanksgiving in California just so he could go, because he wasn't going to show up if I showed up. And I was just like, you know what? I won't go. And the reason why is he's my big brother, and he knocked my block off a couple of times when he disagreed with what I was doing with mom and dad. And he, held me accountable to things. And hey, we just hit 197,600 people.
I saw that.
And, so then, 10 years later, he reached out and I responded in an email and he's like, oh my God, you're a great writer. And we started talking again. And although it was contentious, he had his belief systems and his whatever, his conspiracies about 9/11 where I didn't agree, but overall we had very much the same principle. He was always more of a libertarian than I was. And, my wife wrote a letter to my dad and said, here's how your children feel about you. And my son or my brother didn't like it. And he called and just started ripping me a new one when I was working at Apple. And I'm like, okay. Hey, I didn't write it. Olivia wrote it. I understand your frustration. I get it. Well, you need to tell. Okay. All right. And continuing to try to be my big brother. And then I finally said, hey, mother effer, I don't know who you think you are, but I'm taller than you. I outweigh you by 60 pounds. And I will beat the ever-loving out of you if you ever speak to me or my wife like that again. I don't care who the hell you think you are. And I guess he's like, well, he scared me, And I'm like, well, good. Because you earned that. So he's out of my life. He doesn't want to be in my life.
At some point, you have to set the older siblings straight. I did it when I was 28 with my sister.
Yeah.
And at some point, you have to.
Well, you do. And then my sister, we know how crazy she is. Mm-hmm. My brother's not crazy. My brother's just, he's my brother. We don't really see eye to eye. My mom is just nuts like my sister.
Freaking psychotic.
Just a psychotic, nutso. And my dad, I left my dad because after his stroke, we were never close. And he had met his grandkids a couple times, never called on birthdays, never. And I just said, I'm not going to have people in my child's life that's going to constantly disappoint them and hurt them. Just not going to. So, if there's any regret, there's a little bit with my dad, but not much because I said the things that I wanted to say. I told him how I loved him. I told him how I cared about him. I also told him how he frustrated me. And at that point, there was no way. But my point is that a lot of the times, the issues that people have with their parents are irreconcilable.
Irreconcilable?
Jeez, that's not a hard word. I don't know why I'm struggling. It is in the reason why those differences happen is because somewhere between you growing up as a parent and growing down, and that's the truth. When people get to a certain age and they grow down, they become more tolerant, they become more patient. The standards that they had when they were younger aren't the same. Their feelings towards life changes. I know I am. I'm more tolerant and patient than I've ever been. And so I've grown down a little bit. Like I've stepped off that ladder. Well, kids get on that ladder and there's a transition of power, and a lot of parents are unable to grow down for their kids. And they have to. I know that Olivia would not have a relationship with her mother if her mom didn't grow down a little bit and her dad didn't grow down a little bit. My mom refuses to grow down. So she's not in our lives. My sister wanted to poison the roots and we said no. And my brother won't grow down and he's not in our lives. And that's my dad at least tried to reach out. So I would ask those parents who are feeling that way is to reassess how you approach your children. And have you taken a prostrate position underneath them? And if you haven't, you should, because they're the adults now and you're growing down. It doesn't mean you can't be there for advice. It doesn't mean you can't be there for opinion. If they ask you otherwise, shut up and let them live their lives. And that's hard. And
I think it's the hardest thing as a mom.
Oh,
is
yeah.
To going from their every need they depended on you for to now they don't need you at all. And I think that's the hard part about being a mom. And it's hard.
But you got to do it. You have to allow them to have their own feelings. You have to allow them to, and some people are like, no, I will not. Well, then there's your answer. That's why. You can be shocked But that's the reason why your kids are possibly more than likely saying, you know what? No, I'm not okay with you constantly having an opinion on things. And sometimes you need to, like, I guess what I call growing down. And if you're in a position where your kids listen to and they love you and they don't challenge, well, then good. That's you don't always, it's not always the same prescription for everybody. But if there's a common theme where people are estranged from their children and it's not by their choice, that's probably where that thread comes from. And it's a good opportunity for us to, Amber, dial the number 804-212-2208. If you can't figure that out, then
if you're on your phone, you're going to have to just close the show out. You can't dial it and watch the show.
It's a phone number. If you want to come on with video, you can do that too. Just ask me and I'll send you the invite. It's right here. But it's as simple as dialing the phone. We're moving on though. If you want to talk about that, we're moving on. So we're going to a different scene because sometimes we go on topics too long. This lady, you remember her?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she's back.
Oh yay. Excited.
So evil Scarlett Johansson.
Yep.
With her glasses whittled out of beechwood. She has an opinion on Gold Star families. And I always love people who start off the premise like, my husband's a veteran and my dad was a veteran. So therefore I know what I'm talking about. Listen, okay. Women are listen, if you have a military husband and they're deployed, you are in the service too. If you live on base, you're in the service too. But let's not pretend like you understand the internal politics of working in the military, because you don't. You just don't. And you also don't understand the camaraderie and brotherhood that we possess with fellow servicemen and women. You just don't. You may see it. You may participate in it. You may go to the Marine Corps ball, or you may go to the local PX and talk to Mary Jo Sue and Sally Jesse and all that other stuff, but you're not in the military, okay? Does it mean you can't have an opinion? No, you can. But what you don't get to do is, because you hate Donald Trump, go ahead and trounce other Gold Star families. Listen to this. You guys are going to love this. This lady is just hilarious. She's a peach.
I am angry at the Gold Star family.
What's new? You're white and you're a woman. So
is her name Karen?
Yeah, no, Christine starts the K. But of course you're angry. This is fantastic.
Who invited Trump to Arlington. I know that's going to be an unpopular take. I hope that you will hear me out. Hold here to speed it up. My mother is a combat veteran. So is my husband. So is my brother.
See, I'm interested to hear your mother being a combat veteran. I would like to challenge that premise because you have a better chance of knowing a SEAL than you do a woman who's combat veteran from 20 years ago. This woman is at least 35.
At least.
32, 35. She's in her 30s, maybe 27, 28, 30, whatever. I want to challenge the premise of women in combat, because there were women pilots. Now, if she's a pilot, that's completely different. But I want to know what your mom did. I understand your husband and your dad, okay, but women, I don't think so. Because you have a better chance, like I said, of knowing a combat SEAL than you do, which is, listen, here's one of the crazy things. Do you know it's harder to get into Harvard, or it's harder to work at Apple than it is to get into Harvard? And it's harder to become a SEAL than it is to work at Apple. So it's a very difficult thing, and it's only meant for a certain group of people. So when somebody says, I know a U.S. Navy SEAL, most of that is the chances of you knowing multiple SEALs without being in the community or working with the community is very rare. So the fact that I know, 30 SEALs or have communicated with SEALs is not rare, because I either A, worked in the community, or B, have worked with the community, or C, continued relationships with the community. And most people who say that are unfortunately, they know people who say they're SEALs, but don't actually know SEALs. Do you get my point? Okay, good. Here we go.
All of them, when they pass, are eligible to be buried in a military cemetery.
Yes, that's true.
Until this last week, the entire nation accepted that military cemeteries were a place for solemn remembrance. But these families...
See, I want to challenge that, Liv. You've never been to a military funeral with me, but you know I have attended many. They're not always solemn. I'm just letting you know. Some of them are a celebration of that person's life.
A lot of them are. A lot of funerals are a celebration.
And although you are respectful in Arlington, I've seen people share a bottle of whiskey in Arlington. I've seen people coin graves, which is considered disrespectful in some people's minds. I've seen people lay down on a grave site. But I've also seen coffins tacked. A 21 gun salute, 12, 11, 9, 3, whatever. It's not solemn. It's abrasive and it's loud.
It's very loud.
And I think hushed tones in your voice may be solemn, but not everything about Arlington National Cemetery is solemn. In fact, there's one time of year that I can tell you that I participate in, the wreath ceremony, Wreaths Across America. It's not solemn. It's a celebration of love and joy, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Jew or Orthodox or you're Christian, Islamic. It doesn't matter. There is a love that takes place, and it's not horribly solemn. I just don't. I think it's sacred and solemn ground. There's a very big difference, but it's not always. You know, I mean, it's not like, okay.
Yeah, I get that. My grandfather, when he passed, I don't know if you still call them a Marine after they have
always
passed.
A Marine.
He is always
a Marine.
Okay.
Will always be a Marine.
So,
he is never an ex-Marine.
He is a Marine,
still
and
a Marine.
he was
Yep.
in World War II in the South Pacific. And when he passed in 2006, being Catholic, we had an open casket wake. That was somber. And it wasn't bad. That was the one I had to talk at, though. Then the funeral at the church. Hi, sweetie. The funeral at the church, of course, that's, tears and somber and blah, blah, blah. But then when we went to the cemetery to bury him, that was laughing and joking and all the cousins and the huge family sharing stories. And my grandfather was a tequila drinker, and we all had a shot of tequila. Everyone. I had two cousins that were pregnant. They took the shot. Everyone who was within an age, my 13-year-old cousins took the shot. We all took a shot of tequila over my grandfather's grave. Yeah. And it's a respect thing. And the fact that you feel that you have to be somber, you shouldn't tell other families how they should feel around their loved ones' graves, because you don't know the type of people they are. A lot of people, they tell their loved ones, I don't want a funeral. Remember me. Have a celebration of my life. Don't have a funeral. Don't cry for me. Remember me.
Right.
And honestly, that's what funerals should be, is a remembrance of that person's life and how they were.
Agreed. Yeah, it's just a very different. Military funerals, yes, they can be very somber. But trust me when I say this, the unit that person was attached with, they're drinking in that person's honor, and they're grabbing waitresses' asses, and they're ordering more rounds. And that may not happen in Arlington like that. But trust me when I say this, is people mourn in different ways. And if you think of every single person in Arlington, sits there with solemn and silent chastity, you're horribly mistaken. So this immediately tells me she's never been to a military funeral in her life.
These families decided that all of the other...
Or at least the one she did go to was a mess, and people were a mess, and that happens. But once again, she's not going after Donald Trump. She's going after the Gold Star families. Listen to what she's saying.
Their Gold Star families, they don't matter. All of the other fallen, they don't matter. Every other grave at Arlington, it doesn't matter. All of the graves at every military cemetery don't matter, because they decided in their adoration for Trump that it was okay to let Trump, his campaign staff, and his campaign team's videographer and photographer, on top of all of the aides and security, they invited them to Arlington to traipse over other people's children's graves.
Why does she have such bad takes? I mean, how can you be so devoid of common sense and reasoning to have such takes? We'll finish this.
To walk over the remains of other people's siblings, other people's parents, all because of their politics. They turned their own children's graves, their own siblings' graves, into a prop for a politician. Not a single one of them has said that the assault on a member of the staff of Arlington, not a single one of them have said that that was wrong.
Why would they? Why? You've never had altercations with people in the military? You've never had altercations with your father? You never had altercations with your brother, your husband? Altercations take place. For the love of God, Trump was almost assassinated. I consider that an altercation. Okay? So you're going to say that he abuses high school students too? Or dropouts in college? It doesn't make any sense. People have altercations. Nobody punched him. The Trump administration, it went something like this. You guys can't film here. And it's probably some guy who's puffing out his chest. He's probably, a sergeant, recently got to the station because he doesn't like Donald Trump. I mean, because here's the thing. Either that's the president or former president, and you know that. So therefore, you make a conscientious decision that he was invited there, and you would treat the ex-president of the United States as somebody with respect and deference, because that is the way we are trained in the military. Or you'll make it your personal vendetta to go after him, right? And I bet you this guy had an axe to grind and thought he was going to go ahead and flex his arms for freedom and democracy and tell Trump, I told Trump no. Well, guess what? Trump had permission, and it is legal to film and take photos in Arlington. You're full of crap. I've been to Arlington. I can't even begin to tell you how many times. And you absolutely can take photos. You can absolutely video. You cannot take video and photos of somebody mourning. You cannot take videos of another gravesite that somebody else is mourning. You cannot use it for political or financial gain. And you can't use it for campaign or things to that effect. But if you want to film, all you got to do is ask. And most of those are accommodated. We filmed a flag series, wooden flags in Arlington. You go to flagsofvalor.com, and there's freaking flags in Arlington, wooden flags, where they allowed us to go ahead and film. So, not true.
Some have said they invited the Biden and Harris administrations. Others have said that they never would in a million years. I have no idea who's telling the truth, and I really don't fucking care.
Well, that's your problem. See, this is the you don't care what the truth is, so therefore all credibility is. This is one common theme in all the people we're talking about tonight, is that you don't care. You don't care what the truth is. Now, if I have a video of one of their staffers punching a military NCO, I'm going to be, oh yeah, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to speak out. But you don't have that. Why didn't the guy press charges? He didn't get assaulted. He may have told him, hey bro, listen, get the out of the way. This is the former president of the United States, and we have permission to be here, and we're already late. Step the F off. Okay, you know what? If that took place, who cares? I don't care. These are military people. These aren't Girl Scouts. Trust me, we get talked to like that by our wives.
What I care about is now these families.
Man, woman, whatever. If you're in uniform and you're getting involved, that makes me even more suspect if it was a woman military member that she is probably not for Donald Trump. It just makes me even more that this was a setup, or this is somebody who had an axe to grind with Trump.
Have told all of America that where our military are laid to rest is no longer sacred.
Nobody said that.
It can be disrespected as long as you have a specific political agenda.
Oh, come on.
They know damn well that they were disrespecting all of the fallen surrounding their own kids. And they don't fucking care.
I promise you this, that nobody in those graves knew. I promise you that nobody in those grave burial plots none of them were upset, because one of two things are happening. One is that they are in the most coveted and promised place of Valhalla or heaven, or two, they're worm food. So sorry to be so blunt, none of them care. And I seriously doubt that anyone who died, served this country, is absolutely shocked that people like you are making this video and that anybody would bring politics to Arlington. You should shed your politics. Donald Trump you don't have 1 second of campaign footage. You don't have one photograph that was released there that was used for a campaign. You're lying. None of it was political. So what you're saying is that Donald Trump isn't welcome to be at the graveside of a military veteran. Fine. Then either is Joe Biden, who killed 13 of them. Either is Kamala Harris. Either is a Barack Obama, who killed 284 Americans, although Al-Qaeda and ISIS supporters and other JIB and everything else. Then he doesn't have a right to sit there. Bill Clinton can't sit there because he cut military funding. Obama also did the VA and destroyed the VA. So nobody can go, right? So what you're saying is that if you served in politics, nobody can go on military hollow ground. Okay, that makes no sense. It's the dumbest thing ever. So what you're really trying to say is you don't like Donald Trump, and therefore you're going to overblow this and completely flip out and make a horrible decision like the glasses that you bought. Makes no sense to me. Wrapping it up, then Olivia, I want you to close us.
What they care about is they got to take a smiling picture with Trump, and they are fine betraying every other Gold Star family to do it.
Ugh, give me a break.
And all future Gold Star families, all future families who are going to lay their loved ones to rest in a military cemetery. They opened the door to disrespecting hallowed ground across the nation.
Oh, yeah.
And they should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay.
But they're MAGA, so they won't be.
So my first thought,
God, go cook something, seriously.
is she needs to pull the stick out and she really needs to get laid.
Yeah.
She's a little too wound up.
Yeah, your husband isn't doing his job. There's a reason
Either
why.
he's deployed or he's freaking staying away.
Well, there's always D batteries or a jar of peanut butter in the local dog. Something.
She may not have a dog. But the other thing is, isn't the left always saying, don't assume our gender, don't assume this? Why are you assuming that they're Republicans?
Yeah.
Just because they invited Trump.
That's right.
How do you know that they didn't actually invite Biden?
They did. It's my understanding they invited the Bidens and invited Trump.
So there you go. It's not political. It's not.
Well, of course it's political because it's Donald frickin' Trump, right? Of course it's political, but who cares? It's political because he's Donald Trump, not political because he went there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've met.
Can I go to Arlington because of my political? I mean, dude, I'm on a political show.
Exactly.
I say a lot of things that are controversial. Can I go? No, you can't go either. Okay, well then I guess nobody sounds like you have a problem with Gold Star families disagreeing with their politics, and therefore you're going to malign them with all the negative things you said. So she didn't go after Trump. She went after the Gold Star family.
And the fact that family actually invited Joe Biden to come is shocking, considering Joe Biden's the reason their son is dead.
Real quick. I'm sorry.
Up?
Evelyn, she doesn't make any money from me playing her. She can't write claims to my videos. So I'm not giving her any follows. Do you think people are following her? People are probably going on her page to tell her she's an idiot. So she's making money, but she's on TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok account, so it's not me. I play these people to show you how dumb they are, and to give you a sample of what you should and shouldn't buy into. You know what I mean? So if I don't say something and it enters my orbit, then I'm responsible too. That means I condone what she says, and I don't.
So I've met several Gold Star families and moms through Valor when we did the Raise the Roof.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we did.
And we met a ton of them. And
Ton
I
of
can
Gold
tell
Star.
you that every single one, they are the most upbeat, happy, positive people I've ever met. They
Never
are
political.
welcoming.
Never
they
political.
Are loving. They are so proud of their child. They just, you could just tell they're still proud. They just beam with pride when they talk about him.
And I'm letting you know, most of them are Trump supporters.
I'm pretty sure they are.
This I'm pretty sure. I worked with the Maryland chapter, the Tennessee chapter, the Delaware chapter, the Virginia chapter of Gold Star Moms.
There was one that we met.
We redid their website.
I know.
My relationship with Gold Star Moms is ridiculous. Like, it's like 12 states, and most of them are Trump supporters. But
there was one. She was amazing. I absolutely adored her. It was so freaking cold that day, but she let us all go in to use the bathroom, and she showed us around and showed us all the pictures of her son. And there's a huge picture of her son on the wall. Right next to it, she got to meet President Obama.
Yeah,
because her son died when President Obama was president, and there was nothing political about it.
No.
Nothing.
They don't care.
They don't care. They care that their fact that their child is gone, but they also celebrate their child's life. They're not going to be in a perpetual state of sadness and despair, because even though their child is gone, they still have other family members.
That's true.
And
it's true.
And either A, she's never been to a funeral, or B, she is the most negative person alive. And here's the thing with her,
attention-seeking Karen.
She is. And here's the thing. I would love to see how many funerals she's been to and how she acts at those funerals. And if she is anything but completely somber, with her head bowed and her hands crossed and looking at the floor and nothing but a frown and tears on her face, then she's a freaking hypocrite.
I'll raise you. She's never been to a military funeral, and she's never been to Arlington, so she has no idea. Everyone thinks it's like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Arlington is not a crypt, folks. It's not a crypt. Like I said, I've had a shot with people over a buddy. We have coined graves. We have left flowers. I'll be honest with you. There might have been a time where we left a certain undergarment. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Things are done, and you don't understand the meaning of it, but things are done and things are said that are between military people and that serviceman or woman, and you don't have to understand. But I promise you that some of the visits that I've had, you would question and go, "Oh, you don't do that on solemn ground." You know what? I don't care what you think. And I promise you the people buried there don't care either. And if you're desecrating graves and vandalizing and urinating, you should be taken out and beaten within an inch of your life. But if you're there mourning and somebody doesn't approve of the way you're mourning, I don't give a flying F-a-D-F, okay? I don't care. Donald Trump has every right to go to Section 60 and have people photograph him because he got permission from Arlington. I've shown you the email. I've shown you the family's letter. So anytime this girl wants to come on, please come on. Bring your lunch too. You're going to get hungry. Here's another video. I'm going to save the craziest for last.
Like she crazy?
Here you go. Watch this. I don't know what's up with the audio. Hold on.
What did the president mean when he
at her, telling her what you...
Why don't you even put music on? I mean, just fine. No sound. Trump 24. Two guys. It looks like Tim Walz and his gay lover are burning a polyester and synthetic flag. Oh, look at all those chemicals. Look at all those chemicals. I thought that was bad for the environment. Okay. So, Oliv, your reaction to this video, what are your thoughts when you see it?
I'm not, whatever. I mean, great. It's not the American flag. I could care less. Whatever.
Right.
If you wanted to spend your own money on this, then and burn it, great. You just
$8.96 on
we
Amazon.
Just got ours. It's up on our.
It's the exact same one. We
It
ordered
is
the
the
red
exact
and
same
blue.
one.
It's the exact $8.96. I ordered it yesterday. It's up on my flagpole.
It just
Good for you.
great.
You know what? You have every
whatever.
right to do that. Now, let me ask you a question. Can I go ahead and post a video in the same channel on TikTok of me burning the LGBTQRS Two-Spirit BIPOC pedo flag?
You should be able to, but no.
No, but what would happen to me, Olivia,
are
if I
gonna
burned
get
the LGBT
canceled.
BIPOC Two-Spirit pedo flag?
Oh, you are going to get canceled so hard.
Yeah, they'll ban my account. YouTube will ban my account. Facebook. So you can burn a Trump flag, but I can't burn the LGBTQRSTUV flag? Why? Not that I would, because I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to embarrass my good friends. And I got a story for you. Because I think that this is important. All right, I'm going to show you guys something real quick. Now, if I get emotional, don't get mad at me. Oh, I can't play the sound. It's such a good song, too. I feel like Joe Biden is such a good song. Let me tell you a story. Here it is. How do I expand this?
Is that Facebook?
It's Instagram. You know how this shit works.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I cussed. Hold on. I can't stand Instagram. I despise it. I despise Instagram. Okay. Here's the video.
Did they watch the show?
Yeah. That beautiful wedding. It's a beautiful wedding. Here's the comment. I'm gonna get all emotional. I'm gonna get emotional. Can I tell you how much this made my day? I was feeling a little blue. Just kind of a crazy week, you know? And I just you question and go, am I doing everything right? Am I doing what I should do? Am I saying the things I should say? Am I harming people or helping people? And I got this message. And it says, your girls got married thanks to you. We were just thinking about you and your family and how you rode so hard for me so I could transfer to LA and be with Selena. You helped us get here. And I knew these girls back in Albuquerque when I was a senior manager for Apple. And, I wasn't the greatest leader. I wasn't the greatest boss. I had a lot of opportunity. But Esme and Selena are two girls that I absolutely adored. Selena was dating Angela at the time. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know Esme. But Selena and Angela both wanted to come to Bakersfield with me because, one, they wanted to move to California. And they were sick of being looked down upon for being lesbians in New Mexico. And when they found out I was leaving, Selena came to me and said, I'm going with you. You're taking me with you. And I said, Selena, I don't know if I can do that. But I went to my regional and I said, I need to take 2 girls with me, and I need to take Selena and Angela, and they got to come with me. And they did. And they helped me open up one of the most successful Apple stores in the country from a customer service standpoint. We were number 1 in the world for employee satisfaction and customer satisfaction for multiple years. And Angela and Selena parted ways. And I remember the first time Selena saw Esmeralda. And I was in the training class, and Selena was in the training class, and we were doing onboarding. And Apple onboarding is a very immersive experience. 5 days, you're in a hotel and you're in a conference room, you amazing food, and you learn. But they don't teach you about a computer. You just learn the history of Apple, and it was amazing. And I remember Esme walking in. She was a creative, and I saw Selena. And Selena was a genius. She worked on the computers. Esme taught people how to use the computers. And I remember Selena seeing her, and I just looked at Selena like, what? and there's 140 people in this room. We had like 10,000 applicants for these positions, and we interviewed everybody. We at least scanned their resume and went through it. And when she saw Esme, I laughed. Anyway, Esme was straight. She had a child, and she had just got out of a relationship with her husband. So I saw this relationship, and Angela and Selena separated. And Angela is a beautiful girl, and I love her too, and she's amazing. But Selena and Esme fell in love. And they asked me to go to bat for him again. And before I went on leave and became the villain in that store, because people have to have a villain, and white males with tattoos who are ex-military are the villains at Apple. They got most of us. I made sure that Selena, but more importantly that Esme, transferred with her to LA when she left. And their relationship wasn't solidified, but I guess they probably wouldn't have stayed together if that didn't happen, according to them. So to get this means the world to me. So the reason I show this is not to brag. This is in my personal life, and this is to bring a personal part of me to you, is that I don't have a problem with the gay and lesbian community. In fact, I adore them. And I adore people who can love, because the world needs a lot of it. I just disagree. And so do they, by the way. They watch the show. And a lot of the stuff that I say, they agree, including about transgenders and lesbians and gay, because they understand where my heart is. And when they say your girls got married, I can't begin to tell you, as a man who devalues his contributions to other people's lives, how much that statement means to me. And I just thought I'd share it with you because it's beautiful, and the love that they have is beautiful, and it's incredible. So I'll just kind of stop there and let you say what you want to say about that.
Oh, they were awesome. And in Bakersfield, half of your store was gay. I mean,
yeah,
all of them. Where it was,
a lot of them were.
Yeah, it was like half the store, and they were all awesome. I'm still friends with a lot of the people from that store on Facebook. And one of them, Monica, Hayden loved these mints, these little Lifesaver mints. Mm-hmm. And Monica found out, and she always had a package in her pocket just in case I came by. Because I love Monica. Being a stay-at-home mom, we would just stop in because it was in the mall. So we would stop in every once in a while when you're shopping and stuff and just say hi or to take you lunch or something. Yep. And every time we came in, Monica always made sure to give Hayden a mint.
John Stellick.
And I remember John Stellick,
this is huge.
Oh, yeah. He was so excited because I remember him telling me he introduced me to his boyfriend, and then I came in and he was so excited. We just got engaged, and I was like, awesome, and he shows me a video. They went to an Ellie Goulding concert, And he managed to get Ellie Goulding's attention to pull them on stage, and he proposed to his boyfriend on stage at an Ellie Goulding concert. And I got to see the video.
Still together. Still together.
And here's the thing. Monica and Jamie, the lesbian couple, the one who gave Hayden the mints, I'm friends with both of them. And I remember when they had their first baby, they brought him over so we could meet him when he was a newborn. He's only a few months younger than Ethan. But they have 2 children now. Well, Jamie does surrogacy for other gay couples. And she had John and his husband, they're twins. She carried their twins, and she does that for other couples. And they're amazing people. And I have absolutely nothing against anyone who is lesbian or gay.
However, there is an element that is completely crazy. And we're not discussing those people. We're discussing people just like you and me who there's too much hate in the world. There's too much anger in the world. And I don't think Christians hate lesbians and gays. I think they want lesbians and gays who are activists to leave our children alone like they want to be left alone. I mean, that's what gays and lesbians say, right? Just leave us alone. Let us be happy. Okay, cool. You leave our kids alone then. Oh, no. Your kids need to accept us. Okay, wait, stop. That's not your decision. So I think the reason I brought this up is not to, look at Matt. He's got a gay friend. He can say whatever he wants about gay people. No, I have hundreds of gay friends, if not thousands of gay friends.
Hayden's first crush was on a gay man.
Yeah.
Was on John.
Yeah.
She had the biggest crush on him.
And it doesn't give me any more credence to what I say than if I knew one or none. But I will tell you is that we are not that far apart from what most gay and lesbian people think. Most gay, lesbian, and bisexual people think just like you and me. They want their families protected. They want to be happy. They want to love. There is an extremist group inside this element that starts with the T. And honestly, lesbian, gays, and bisexuals are not very happy with the transgender community, surprisingly enough, because they feel that they slapped themselves on it and didn't earn it. And that transgenderism is a choice. And lesbians and gays, bisexuals don't believe that what they go through is a choice. Now, I've had many conversations where I believe it is a little bit of both. I think there's chemical disposition. Most assuredly, people get their wires crossed, and that's the natural order of things is for a man to be with man and women, and that's what we do. But there are definitely people who have predisposition. There's no doubt in my mind that there is some of that. However, when people go through puberty, they make a decision. They will have homosexual thoughts or tendencies. They'll have nocturnal emissions. They'll have a dream, or they'll just have a random thought, or they'll see somebody in the shower and they'll go through that thought process subconsciously and make a decision to or not to. And most people go, no, that's a thought I don't have. I'm attracted to women, and it moves on from there. But there is a group of people who have those thoughts and go, maybe I am. And this creates choice. So when I talk about this, it's very important for people to understand is that, like anything that I discuss, it comes from a place of education, and it comes from a place of experience, from talking and learning with other people. This isn't to sell you on the lesbian and gay lifestyle. This is to celebrate that if I can impact people's lives, I'm going to do that. And I don't care who they are or what they believe. And they can be like the people we're going to talk about next, horrible human beings. If I can impact their lives and maybe show them a light, I'm going to do that. Okay? Good conversation. Appreciate you guys and girls talking about that, or at least listening to it. You guys can call in if you want to have a conversation. We're going to the next one. And this is, man, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm a little disappointed in Tucker Carlson. And thank you, Violet.
Hey, can you hang like 30 seconds?
You gotta go to 20?
Yeah, I do.
You go to the 20?
My small bladder can't hold it.
All right, you go to the 20. I'll jump on something else. Okay. So KJP, here's a little video. Then we'll go to the big
And the
one.
president said this in his statement over the week.
Peter Ducey. I love him.
What did the president mean when he said Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wasn't doing enough to reach a hostage and ceasefire deal?
So here's what I'll say. He was asked a question by your colleague.
Peter Ducey asks, what did Biden mean when he said that Israel needs to do more for the ceasefire deal and needs to promise more concessions? You know, with terrorists. That was about what my video was today. If you haven't watched it, watch that.
A direct question, and he answered it. What I will say, I think more broadly, which is important to note, and the president said this in his statement over the weekend, is that make no mistake about it, Hamas leaders are going to pay for these crimes. And he and his team, for sure, will keep working around the clock to get this hostage deal done.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all she had to say. I don't know. And that would have solved the problem. This is Tucker Carlson. Now, I usually don't play this stuff on my channel. And it's not because I'm afraid of it. I've got no problem talking about World War II. But there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. And this is going to take us all the way home. Let's do the Tucker Carlson first. And you guys, I want you to listen.
Now, he didn't kill the most people. I thought Churchill was the chief villain of the Second World War. Now, he didn't kill the most people. He didn't commit the most atrocities. But I believe, and I think when you really get into it and tell the story right and don't leave anything out, you see that he was primarily responsible for that war becoming what it did, becoming something other than an invasion of Poland. You know, Germany, look, they put themselves into a position, and Adolf Hitler is chiefly responsible for this, but his whole regime is responsible for it, that when they went into the East in 1941, they launched a war where they were completely unprepared to deal with the millions and millions of prisoners of war, of local political prisoners and so forth that they were going to have to handle. They went in with no plan for that. And they just threw these people into camps, and millions of people ended up dead there. You know, you have like letters as early as July, August 1941 from commandants of these makeshift camps that they're setting up for these millions of people who are surrendering or people they're rounding up. And so it's 2 months after, a month or two after Barbarossa was launched. And they're writing back to the high command in Berlin saying, we can't feed these people. We don't have the food to feed these people. And one of them actually says, rather than wait for them all to slowly starve this winter, wouldn't it be more humane to just finish them off quickly now?
I just laughed and threw up in my mouth a little bit right there. Are you serious? He looks really young for like 95, considering he had a firsthand account of what happened there to know how the Nazis were feeling. Because I'm pretty sure that they didn't have a problem with the Jews. They actually cared for them immensely, and they wanted to keep them safe from the impending war. So they rounded them all up and put them in camps so they could keep them safe, so they wouldn't get hurt in all the fighting. And then they realized that, oh no, we don't have enough food to feed them. But they can't take care of themselves. And we're trying to protect them from the war that's happening, but we don't have enough food to feed them. So we're going to do the humane thing, and we're just going to end it quickly as opposed to letting them starve. Yes, I think that's a very accurate account of what happened. So I really appreciate this guy's commentary.
You know, I am really tired of people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and Jake Shields and Stu Peters saying the following: I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. What's the big deal? No, you're not asking questions. Ben Shapiro and I agree on this. What you're doing is you're laying the groundwork to probe and see if people will entertain your foolishness and complete nonsense. and you're exploring to gauge your audience. Listen, there is a shift happening in the right that is becoming extremely anti-Semitic because they've always been. And now they have carte blanche. They have permission. Winston Churchill was a lot of things. He was an alcoholic. He spent an ungodly amount of money. He was verbally abusive to his people. He was stubborn. He was arrogant. He had a superiority complex over America. He felt that the United States should be in perpetuity, loyal, and were always dissidents from 1776 on. But Churchill was a lot of things, but he was also a unifier by communicating at a level and playing geopolitics, what we would call 4D chess. He was very much a Trump-like individual. So fine. Since Tucker Carlson wants to put neo-Nazi sympathizers who are revisionist history, these people are worse than the Daughters of the Confederacy. These people are the worse than the next guy I'm going to tell you who talks about the overall party switch that took place. We're going to talk about that next. The Great Society. Well, revisionist history. People who want to say, well, Republicans were in the KKK. Republicans believed in Jim Crow. It wasn't Democrats. We switched parties. No, you did not. And I'll explain why. But I am not a Churchill fan. Now, I've read 16 some odd volumes of the Winston Churchill Chronicles. And it's different wherever you've read it. I think I read mine overseas, so it's a little bit more expanded. But it doesn't matter. I don't like the English. In fact, I despise the English. But
bless you.
Thank you. When Tucker gives this guy a platform and says that he is a renowned world historian, what comes out of his mouth when millions of people watch Tucker is that they're going to believe this crap. That they're going to believe this. So here's my thing, and this is what Tucker should have done. Are you ready? So Liv says, well, the Jews, it was just an unfortunate mistake. Thank you for my blessing. Just an unfortunate mistake. Just an accident, really. Happenstance. Just bad luck. Really? Well, can you explain why the Germans put Poles and Slovaks and Russians and French and Deutsch and other Germans in these camps to die too? Can someone explain that to me? Because yes, they most certainly killed 5 million Jews. They also killed 6 million non-Jews. Goyams, non-Jews. So the Germans were just rounding those people up and killing them for what reason? That's my question. And the answer is, well, once you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, love. For queen and country. Great. So why did they remove genitalia? Why did they put serums inside people, altering their body and their chemical makeup? Why did they practice with high levels of LSD and opiates on people? Why did they mutilate their corpses and bodies? Why did they go ahead and take certain parts of their anatomy and use their skin for other repurposable events, whether it be furniture or lamps, all these things that are in question, but the experiments aren't. Eastern Europeans were treated much differently than Western Europeans by the Nazis. But they killed Slavs. They murdered gypsies and nomads, vagabonds. They murdered Turks. They murdered Syrians, Iranian. The German Nazi regime had a smorgasbord of murder left in its wake. And for him to sit here and say, oh, well, they were only going to invade Poland. Right. That's why they went ahead and took over France. That's why they did a rope-a-dope in northern France and came up and did the blitzkrieg from the south. That's why they wanted to take England. That's why they wound up taking Poland and Austria. The Germans were expanding and wanted to take Europe. And this is why they ultimately got in with the Russians, was payback for World War I, which a lot of people say the Russians went ahead and started. Who started the war between Russia and Germany is immaterial. The point is that Russia put pressure on Germany, and Germany decided to go ahead and have all-out war. You can blame Russia for that. I always love how these neo-Nazis want to blame the Bolsheviks and want to blame that there were Jewish people in the Bolshevik Revolution. And there were, most certainly. But it wasn't completely all Jews. There were Jews everywhere. Jews ran Germany. Go look at 1908 on and discover who was in Germany and who ran Germany. The Jews were all over Europe, and they had matriculated as much as people of Danish descent, as much as Eastern European and the Slavs. Outside of Western European influence. So to pretend that the Jews were not immersed in Western and Eastern European culture is a ludicrous thing. So just ask yourself a question when people, why does Tucker have this guy on? Well, because Tucker has found an element that he can go ahead and pay the highest bidder and curtail with his content a following. And as the wind blows, people like Tucker and Candace and Nick Fuentes is now openly against Trump. And I told you he would be. I told you he was a gay lefty. And he is. He's an incel. He goes ahead and tells other men and little boys who follow him not to have sex with women. That women are evil. To not to have any type of relationship with them. And to remain completely abstinent from sexual relationships with women. He hangs around with gay men. Milo Yiannopoulos is one of his best friends. Yay! He's the worst Nazi I've ever seen. He hangs with a flamboyant homosexual, and yay, whatever the hell yay is now. He basically looks like a person, like the Hamburglar with a ski mask. This guy's playing people. He doesn't believe this crap. He doesn't believe this whole BS about Jews and the Rothschilds and the USS Liberty. He's a shill. And Donald Trump kicked him to the curb and said, no, dude, no more. I'm not associating with you, you neo-Nazi dick. Pardon my French. Oh, Fuentes isn't left, huh, John? Yeah, John, I've been waiting for you. Here's your boy. Here's your boyfriend, John. Let's watch that. Let's see what you think of your boy, Nick Fuentes, now. God, I was hoping you'd be on. Merry Christmas, John.
This is not a Republican administration. And at this point, there was a time when I said that I wanted to deliver my support to Trump eventually. And a lot of people are wondering, where is this ultimately going to go? Am I just going to, in the end, say, oh, okay, it was fun, but we're going to vote for Trump? Or whether I was going to turn and go for Kamala. I'll tell you this, I'm never going to go for Kamala. But as time goes on, I don't think there are increasingly fewer and fewer scenarios where I wind up voting for Trump, or where I wind up telling anybody to vote for Trump, or we deliver any of this support for Trump.
John, you doing okay, big guy? Do you want me to get you some Kleenex for your vajayjay? Okay, here's the rest. Hang in there, buddy. I know you Groypers, man. You don't like this stuff.
At this point, I'm outright simply campaigning against Trump. in the state of Michigan. I don't think he deserves to win at this point. And when I say I don't think he deserves, I don't mean there's some cosmic sense of justice or something. I understand it's ruthlessly pragmatic, actually. I think that a Republican campaign that backstabs the base on every issue cannot be affirmed. And what I mean by that is if Republicans go out and vote for this, it sends a message, which is that this is what we're willing to tolerate. If the Republicans turn out and vote for this campaign, then the Republican establishment knows this is the new baseline. They can get away with this forever. They can drop pro-life forever. They can drop immigration forever.
Wow, your boy sounds like a lefty, John. Trump isn't a neo-Nazi enough. I'm also not a Groyper. Well, you certainly act like it when you defend this Yutz. This Yutz just went ahead and endorsed Kamala Harris. So let me get this straight. I don't endorse Kamala Harris, but all my people who follow me, the 2 million people who follow me, I want you not to vote for Donald Trump. That sounds like it's a vote for Kamala Harris, don't you think? This guy, his belief structure is leftism. Okay. Please describe to me the Nazi culture of where they believe in social medicine, where they believe and where they put their coin in socioeconomics. Please tell me what the civil rights movement was for the Nazis. Please tell me, did they have Social Security? Did they have extended leave for family? Did they believe in universal health care? John, you frustrated me last show, so I'm going to lay into you a little bit. It's a rite of passage. When you said he's not left, and you said he's a neo-Nazi fascist, do you understand what the neo-Nazis were and what that party was named after? Nationalist Socialist Party? You understand that, right? Do you understand that socialism was inundated after World War II ended? And what was there with the Nazi was fascism? If they were so diametrically opposed, why did they embrace socialism so quickly when the Russians took over East Berlin? Because the lines of delineation between fascism and socialism are not that far. So when you say he's not left, the guy wants single race, one religion, one language, separation of power to white people, isolationism, and believes that white people should be taken care of at all costs, no matter the cost. That does not sound like a conservative to me. That sounds like somebody who wants big government, wants government control of everything. And if they want distribution and control of everything, then there's one word for that. That's socialist and communist. And where is the party of the left right now? Socialism and communism is where they're moving towards. National socialism was a form of fascism. Do you understand what you know who you sound like? You sound like Lee Harvey Oswald. When they asked him on an interview on a local debate channel in Louisiana, and they said, "Are you a communist?" And he goes, "No, I'm a Marxist-Leninist." And the person he was debating said, "What is the difference? Please describe to me what a national socialist is versus socialism, please." You sound like the Democrats. Democrat socialist. There is no word that precludes socialism that counteracts the effects of socialism. Socialism is big government, distribution, and control of all goods and services by government. It's communism. So when you say national socialism, how is that not isolationism like I just described? National Socialism was a form of fascism, not socialism, to be honest. That makes no sense. Because I just explained to you and asked you to tell me, please describe to me, as far as civil rights for German citizens, their welfare system, nationalized health care, extended leave and days off, rise of minimum wages. Do you understand those are all socialist programs? So most assuredly, they were fascists in their regime, used military influence and power to assert the people, for sure. They also took their guns away. They also isolated an entire group of people and reallocated wealth from the Jews and distributed amongst German citizens and put the Jews in slums. Does this sound familiar to you? Why don't you ask a black family who lives in the inner city if they feel comparable to Jews? Ask them which party did that. Yeah, John, I think you like to use big words, and I think you like to muddy the waters on purpose without truly taking responsibility for what you're saying. Nick Fuentes is not a neo-Nazi. Nick Fuentes is a dog with a bone who is realizing that the bone has worn thin and it's time to shift. And now he is going to try to beat Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and all of these other grifters to the end of the rainbow. Because hating Jews was his shtick. And now everybody does it. Jake Shields made his entire Twitter profile. This guy was a UFC champion. And people follow him because he hates Jews. Stu Peters has an entire network because he hates Jews. Candace Owens flirted with hating Jews, and now she's trying to figure out where she's going because people are like, you're a crazy lady. The Hodge twins flirted with it for 5 minutes when they had Jake Shields on. There is an anti-Jewish sentiment movement. Look at the Groypers that I have to deal with. Look at those guys that used to come on the show. So, John, if you're going to sit here and tell me and even remotely defend Nick Fuentes, or say he's not left, he just outed himself to everybody. From his friends list to the people he associates with, this guy says one thing and does another. Jake Shields does too. His manager's a Jew. But now he makes the decisions that there's different types of Jews. And some of the Jews are okay. And Israel's okay. But anyone who lives in Israel is not okay. I'm sorry, man. I disagree with you completely. But it is what it is. Maybe we're just having a lover's quarrel and you and I aren't getting along. But maybe someday we'll heal. Nick Fuentes, Liv, what do you think of that? I mean, this is the guy who, honestly, probably YouTube throttled my channel for playing. You've heard some of the things that he said. You've heard what the Groypers said and how they said you are a woman and shouldn't have an opinion and women should be seen and not heard. And
I'm pretty shocked they're not on right now. I was expecting them, but you know what? I haven't seen them on in a while. It's been a while since that dude called in a couple of times.
Well, they don't call in anymore because they couldn't win. Because what they wanted me to do was disagree with everything they said. And I wasn't going to disagree because some of the things they said. See, the thing about these guys is that they say a lot of things that are true, but they don't tell the complete story. Like they love to talk about the USS Liberty, but they don't talk about the open investigations from 3 different countries, including the United States. They don't talk about the miscommunication and how it took place. They don't talk about the profile of that vessel and how it reflected other foreign vessels that were absolutely threatening imminent attack on Israel. They don't talk about how they stopped attacking the boat. And the only reason that they began attacking again is because the USS Liberty fired on two PT boats that were out there assessing the situation. They don't talk about how Israel paid reparations to the American families. John, see, I told you John was a Groyper. Wurzelroot or Beardson?
Is he talking about the dude who called in?
Yeah, he knows them both because he's a Groyper. He won't admit it. John, come on, dude. You think I don't know your style? Why'd you guys stop calling in, man? I know why you stopped calling in. Because Wurzelroot and Beardson, what did Beardson say at the end? Wurzelroot is that guy. I don't know, nothing. I had more respect for Beardson.
Here's the thing.
Wurzelroot, everyone's like, oh, answer the phone, answer the phone. Dude, that guy trolled me on Rumble and said things about my kid and my wife and then denied it. And I had screenshots of it. It's just gaslighters, man. That's all you guys are. You're so surface level, man. You're so surface level. And why is everything in your life is all about you? Why do you hate people so much is what I don't understand. Is how can the Jews be responsible? And if the Jews are responsible for everything bad in your life, then why do you hate them so much? Because they are pretty damn good at what they do, don't you think? I'm certainly not a Groyper, I promise you that. Yeah, but you know Wurzelroot and frickin' Beardson. Okay, so Wurzelroot, which one's Wurzelroot? Because I don't remember. I thought Beardson was the one that we got along with. But how do you know those guys and you're not a Groyper? You guys aren't Groypers now. You were Groypers. You guys love Nick Fuentes. Bobby Richardson, thank you. You guys loved Nick Fuentes. He was your best friend. You defended him. Now you don't like him? What happened to you guys fervently defending Nick Fuentes as the great white hope, was going to run for president and win, was going to lead you guys into the future? What happened to him? You guys defended him. You loved him. Why'd you bail on him? Because of Trump? Do you guys think Trump's a Zionist? Is that what you think? Beardson's the hipster. I don't care who they are. That shows you how little of an impact. I had a good conversation with one of them at the end. And I was like, this is a good, but it was the trickery. It was the one, and John, you're probably the guy who called in all the time and then you didn't call it and you use different voices. It's so stupid. It's so juvenile. It's petulant. And you guys get off on it. But in the end, there's no staying power because in the end, you all become like Nick Fuentes. You're just a nobody. Nick Fuentes is going to beg for money. He is going to lose his income because he's burned every bridge he's ever built. Nobody will platform him. And now he's turning on Trump. And do you really think the Groypers are going to go ahead and stick with him? He's the one that told him that Trump was the freaking, he was the Messiah. How can you have any respect for this guy? How can you guys demonstrate one modicum of respect for Nick Fuentes after the reason why he's telling you this? The reason why is because Trump disavowed him. Trump won't give him oxygen. Trump doesn't take his opinion. Nobody cares about Nick Fuentes. He's a kid. He doesn't know anything. He's never been anywhere. He's never accomplished anything. Congratulations. He has a great social media following. He's the smartest kid on the bus with Down syndrome. Congratulations. You're a TikToker without TikTok. And then they have an opportunity to go to me and go, oh, look at your interaction. You know what? I don't care. Because at least the people who do follow me know that I'm not going to sell them out for a dollar sign. And I'm not going to go ahead and start talking trash about Jews or talking trash about Muslims or talking trash about supposed Palestinian, which is not even a country. I'm going to talk trash about Hamas because they kill civilians indiscriminately. And yes, America has killed civilians and Japan has done it and Germans have done it and every country on the planet has done it. That's not the point. I don't call out these people for a dollar. I call out these people because they're morally reprehensible. And I have to say the same thing about the Groypers and anyone who supports Nick Fuentes. You guys came to me and said, hey, Matt, we kind of like you. You're all right. You're all right. We don't agree on everything, but you know what? You're coming around. You know what? Let me tell you something. Now that you guys have lost your Messiah, you guys aren't all right. And you're a bunch of dorks. And you got to You got to figure out that hating people isn't going to get you nowhere. If you don't like Jews, then run for office. If you don't like Jews, then go after AICPAC. If you don't like Ben Shapiro, then educate yourself and go debate him and dress him down and embarrass him like he did to get his position. But the reason why Ben Shapiro won't debate Nick Fuentes, because you can't beat Nick Fuentes. Because Nick Fuentes is an ideologue. He doesn't require any fact for his beliefs. It's opinion and it's emotional diatribe. That's why Nick Fuentes will be a failure. And yeah, he's going to have people who follow him because anti-Jew is huge right now. But I will tell you, it was huge before. It was huge in the 60s. It was huge under MacArthur. It was huge in the 1900s. It was huge in 1840 and 1830. It's been huge before. It was down to biblical times, hating Jews and blaming Jews for everything. My God, Jesus is a Jew. And they betrayed him. So you guys going to disavow Jesus now like you disavowed Trump? You guys aren't Christians. You pretend to be Christian-like, and you're not Christian. Because the only thing that the Bible preaches above all other religions on the planet, and it's going to take you guys a lifetime to figure this shit out, is love. It's the only religion that consistently centers its entire premise, its beliefs, its parables, its profits, its failures, its inequity, its success to love. And you guys aren't capable of that. You won't even love a woman. So, Groypers, you guys are a bunch of cowards.
They don't come on anymore.
They won't come on anymore.
It's funny. Oh, usually the first mention of Fuentes and it's YouTube is just flooded. There is nothing.
I'm sorry.
Amy Stamcombe.
No, hold on. Can I say one thing?
Yes.
John, I don't dislike you, and I think you're the guy who I know you are. But I would just love for once if you would put your face on camera. Maybe you're Woolsel maybe you're Beardson. I don't know who the hell you are. I think you're the other guy who watches the show and constantly monitors us. But if you are, where are all the Groypers? Just be honest with me. How pissed are they at Nick Fuentes right now? How upset that they want to deliver the nomination to a black Jamaican and Indian woman? How pissed and race traitory do you feel towards Nick Fuentes right now? Because he's a race traitor, right? Isn't that what he's doing? Isn't that what you guys say? When a white person turns against his own kind? Oh, you guys got to be pissed. And I'm just lapping it up. I told y'all he was a phony. Told y'all he was a phony. I win. I always win. Like Novocaine, man. Proper application and time, and it always works. Because I don't have an agenda. I don't make money off of lying to people. And it may not be a huge platform, man, but at least it's honest. At least it's true. At least it doesn't BS. Liv.
Amy Stamcombe has the comment of the evening.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, my first thought when he said Wurzel root was the snozberries taste like snozberries. And all I can think of was the Wurzel root tastes like the Wurzel root.
Yes.
Anyway, Amy Stamcombe, someone says it sounds like something out of Harry Potter. So she says, eye of a crow, blood of a newt, splash of Wurzel root.
That's pretty good.
Just
Listen,
the best.
It's you guys used to make fun of me. So I'm just poking fun. I've known guys who are neo-Nazis or anti-Semites. I've known Zionists. I spent time in Israel. I understand. I've told you guys about Lado Contreras, most confused Mexican in the world outside of Nick Fuentes, who was a skinhead. And I sat next to him and I got to hear his thoughts. There's people I don't like. There's groups of race of people that I have a lot of stereotypes for. There's a lot of Muslims that I'm not a big fan of. There's Filipino people who I don't like. I tend to have stereotypes. I think we all do. Nick Fuentes is critical of everybody but Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes has never had an honest moment with himself. He has never had a moment of self-reflection and apologized for anything. He's never been wrong. Show me. Show me the one time Nick Fuentes has said, I was dead wrong and I'm sorry. He's never had a moment of reflection on himself. That's why Nick Fuentes is full of crap. He reminds me of me when I was younger. He really does. I actually admire Nick Fuentes in a lot of ways. He's very smart. He's very articulate. He's passionate. He's a wonderful communicator. He's just full of crap. He's not saying anything that Aryan Nation and skinheads and anti-Semites and Muslims have been saying for generations. Generations. This isn't anything new. The Rothschilds? We're going to have to go back to 1973. We're going to have to go back to 1940. We have to go back to 1836 with Roman emperors and Palestine. Do we have to go back to Judea? Mesopotamia? How far do we have to go back? This stuff predates you guys. You've been here before. We've heard this crap from them before. There's nothing I can't learn from Nick Fuentes and these guys without reading Mein Kampf and reading the Old Testament and putting them both together, and I can pretty much get their disposition on life. Nick Fuentes needs to meet a good woman who will grab him by the short and curlies and knock him for a frickin' loop. That's what he needs. Do you believe that my wife controls me? Do you believe I control her? No. It's a mutual relationship, and it's a tough one, and it's one that's had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But I'll tell you what, I'm a better man for knowing her. I'm a better man for being with her. And for any man to say, women, they're subservient to you, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Because if you had one taste, you'd never go back. Just saying. They're addicting. Liv?
Yes.
Can you afford 10 more minutes?
Sure. Just say sure.
Sure?
Sure.
Okay.
It's pretty simple to explain. The way we got...
I'm going to show you something. John, I don't dislike you. And if you're the guy who we used to call in all the time, I don't dislike you. Just, if that is you, and if it's not you, just be original, dude. Just tell me, if you could just for 1 minute tell me what you think versus regurgitating what other people think, I would love that. I would love that, man. I would love to get to know you because that's why I do this. But if you're just going to regurgitate Nick Fuentes' talking points or somebody else's talking point, I don't care. I just don't care, dude. I'm just, you've never met anyone like me. I just don't care. And when I say I don't care, I don't care. I don't have a hard on for Groypers. I bring you up when you're relevant, and that's less and less every single day. I mean, the Groyper army is running a little anemic. I'm just saying, you guys used to feast on people. I would see Nick post something. There'd be 175 the exact same reply. Yesterday, he said, I'm an American and I admire George Washington. And there was like 20 people that said, I'm an American, I admire George Washington. It was all Groypers. Now, it used to be hundreds. Now it's like the Groyper army's like, I admire George Washington, I'm an American. And it just dwindled off. Nick is a fart in the wind. He won't be here in 5 years. And if he does, he'll be like David Duke. People ignore him. He's all bark and no bite. Seriously, man, step up. Go to war. Go invade Israel. Go fight some Jews. Give me a break. Here it is. John is on YouTube, guys. John is on YouTube. He's on YouTube. This video. This is a gentleman who's going to explain to you how Republicans captured the low IQ voter. Do I strike people as a low IQ individual? John says, I don't think there's any Groypers in here. There used to be. There used to be hundreds.
A ton of them.
We jumped up to like 500-600 one night when all the Groypers tried to feast on my show, and they all stepped up. They all stepped up. I would love to have Beardson back. I'd love to have Wurzel Root back, and I want to hear what you guys think. Let me interview you this time. I want to know how you guys feel about Nick Fuentes. And here's the thing. If you don't despise him now, you guys are a bunch of hypocrites because he's a race traitor. All right, here we go. How Republicans captured the low IQ voter. This is a perfect example of something Nick doesn't do. What Nick does is that he will drive a point home and he doesn't show you his cards. He's very good at being a chameleon. This guy, the first minute of the video, you're like, oh my God, this guy's real. He's smart. And then he shows you how dumb he is. And everything he says after or before is discredited by his stupidity. Listen to this. See if you can catch where it shifts. Liv, you tell me where it shifts.
Okay.
Pretty simple to explain. The way we got in this situation is pretty simple to explain. Basically, when Nixon was discovered having committed Watergate, people thought the Republican Party was washed up. But a clever staffer on Nixon's...
I just want to let you know that the Republican Party was washed up in 1940 when they did what the Democrats do now, was socializing everything. We created welfare. We created Social Security. We created minimum wage. We created the Fed. Republicans actually used to have a panache for big government. The reason why, and everyone will say that, oh, look at a 1940 conservative. They look like a liberal. We were. And we flirted with the socialist progressive movement. And guess what? We abandoned it in droves. Why? Because we learned our lesson. But to sit here and say that the 60s and the 70s, as the Republican Party was small and infinitesimal just because of race or the Southern strategy, no, it was because of the 1940s, 1950s, and 60s. FDR had a huge impact on the Republican Party.
In Nixon's White House, came up with an idea for how to get more new Republican voters to replace all the people that were turned off by the corruption that had just been exposed, and perhaps save the party. His name was Lee Atwater. And he said, I know where there's all kinds of disgruntled white people. All you got to do is appeal to them over their anger about the end of Jim Crow.
That's not what Atwater said. He did appeal to their anger over Jim Crow. But understand this, is that the Dixiecrats and the Southern Democrats, they actually believed opposite. They felt that the left, the liberals, were moving too far progressive. Felt that their beliefs around small government, state law, and the 10th Amendment was the most unequivocally important thing to the Constitution of the United States because it represented those southern states that didn't have the population as the rest of the bigger northern cities and states. A lot of it came down to conservative principle. So to sit here and say that it was only based on race is a small nuance. However, he's still not showing his cards. It's a fairly decent argument, and some of it's true.
And about school desegregation and about the Civil Rights Act. And these are the words that you'll say to kind of trigger them. Then we call these the racist dog whistles. And you will send a message to them that they are welcome in the Republican Party. And starting in the mid-70s to the mid-80s, there was a massive change in voter registration.
Wasn't massive. About 25% of the country were considered Republican fiscal conservatives. That wasn't anything new, considering that the entire voting population was about 25 and 25%. The registered Democrats, they had a very strong movement to register. There's no doubt about that. But they did see a party shift for the Republicans because the values changed. Now, civil rights had a huge impact. Obviously, racism was a big part. But overall government spending, government welfare and subsidies, Social Security, these are the conservative principles that were already tried in the 40s and 50s, and they were repudiated by the South. Yes, there was an effort to play on racism, but to say that the massive voter registration for the Republican Party took place simply because of civil rights and racism is an absolute untruth. It had something to do with it. Of course it did. But that doesn't necessarily mean that big government means that you are racist just because the big government happens to be around African Americans and civil rights.
From Democrat to Republican on the part of all of these racists and lowlifes and ignorant people. At the same time, Trump started to have political ambitions. Now, it turns out Trump has an IQ of about 73. He barely functions as an adult. If it
Here you are. Merry Christmas.
were not for the fact that his father gave him a lot of money, he wouldn't be able to function as an adult. Trump has less money now than he would have had if he'd just taken the money he got from his father and put it in an index fund in the stock market and just let it sit. But he's gradually played around with it all these years and lost it in all his lawsuits and so forth, and his 6 bankruptcies. And
Trump has had over 893 different business ventures. 6 of them went bankrupt. Donald Trump is worth billions, and he got less than, what, $1 million in today's dollars? Saying he has an IQ of 73, the guy graduated the Wharton School of Business. He was also at the military academy, which he raised to ranks, and was a captain of the cadets. Donald Trump has had success wherever he has gone. To sit here and say he has an IQ of 73 is absolutely ridiculous, considering that the average American is around 96 to 113 IQ. 100 is the national average. To say that he is 27 points below the national average is ridiculous. Liv, does Donald Trump strike you as a person with a 73?
No, but I can totally see that he can barely function as an adult without help in society.
Right.
Totally.
Just wait. We're going to keep going. Trump doesn't have an IQ of 73, and because he's old has nothing to do with it.
he's dissipated a fortune over his lifetime. Now, he's had the Russians for the last 20 years to bail him out.
Bullshit.
But ordinary people cannot be as dumb as Trump and still function. But Trump came out onto the public stage and started talking boldly like he wanted to do things politically and help the people of America. And he speaks like a third grader because that's what somebody with an IQ of 73 talks like, even if they're an adult. Linguists have analyzed his speech and they've made it plain. He speaks English at a third grade level.
That is something that's interesting. So I decided to look it up. And actually, the common consensus is between 4th and 6th grade level. The average person in the United States speaks at a 6th grade to 9th grade level. However, when Donald Trump is speaking about business, when Donald Trump is speaking about economics, when he's speaking about geopolitical relationships, when he's speaking about tariffs, his language jumps up to 12th grade and higher. But I don't have any facts to prove except for this. You just said he had a 3rd grade reading level, which is a lie. I looked up what you said, 4th or 6th. And then I went ahead and I ran your entire video through ChatGPT's language analyzer program. You came up at 4.5 levels. So you're not Socrates yourself, dipshit. I'm just saying, Donald Trump speaks to people in a different way that they can understand, and that's what makes him relatable. He doesn't talk over them like Obama does. He doesn't try to go ahead and word salad them like Kamala. And he doesn't go ahead and blabber all over them and just regurgitate talking points through a monitor. Donald Trump speaks plainly, and people find that appealing. And this is why your video is successful if you didn't understand. It's called self-awareness, dipshit. Liv,
this
you can go.
energized
Love you.
dumb people because for
Bye.
the first
Say bye,
time
Liv.
Night, y'all.
Liv's going. She's out. I'm staying. She's tired. She needs to go to bed. No, she needs to get ready for bed. Let's finish this.
could understand a presidential candidate. And they said things like, "Oh, he speaks his mind. He's the first guy that doesn't use a bunch of fancy words and confuse me."
That's correct.
And now I finally understand what he's saying. And of course, what he was saying was a lot of things they wanted to hear. They were the racist dog whistles. And so you had a beautiful alliance from their perspective of racists and stupid people. The lower 12% of the IQ distribution corresponds perfectly to Trump's supporters. Now, these people are so intelligent that there's actually a federal statute that prohibits their induction into military service.
That is correct.
They didn't want to have a repeat. Congress didn't want to have a repeat of the
McNamara's
morons incident from Vietnam.
Great. So you're going to go ahead. By the way, this low IQ individual already knows what you're going to say. The McNamara morons. That's absolutely true. McNamara wanted to go ahead and take the bottom 12 percentile of APT and AQT placement, which is the ASVAB test, essentially. It's changed over the years. The ASVAB was implemented, and now it's something else. The point is that you would have a certain status. A 31 was the lowest score that they would take. And what McNamara did was to bring in 100,000 of the lowest scores that still met the threshold of like 10%. And sent them to Vietnam. And it was catastrophic. These people died. They weren't able to follow commands. It was a soup sandwich. But the interesting thing that he's going to tell you is that this was in place to stop stupid Trump people. Actually, McNamara was a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, served under 2 Democratic presidents and always voted Democrat. So it's interesting, once again, how you want to go ahead and use facts to go ahead and back yourself up when really you're full of crap.
You can look up on your own. McNamara's Morons, it's called. Basically, we had a Secretary of Defense who had the idea that, hey, why don't we recruit...
You had a Democrat Secretary of Defense under John F. Kennedy.
Low intelligence people, send them to war and see what happens. And what happened was they died in droves, and of course, things got worse. And so
yeah, Obama was a great orator. That's about it.
They didn't want that to happen again, so they actually passed a law. You're not allowed to recruit and induct into military service the lowest 12% on the IQ range.
Unless you go ahead, it's not IQ, it's ASVAB rating. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He never served a day in his life in the military. You can tell. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's the ASVAB score. You couldn't bring anyone under a 32, but you actually could. One of the lowest you could bring in was 27, but you had to get a waiver for it and only allowed a certain amount of people when they were trying to meet quota. How do I know this? I worked in a recruiting station.
But they're still allowed to vote, and Trump energized them. He made dumb people.
You heard it here first. This guy says that all Americans should be allowed to vote because they're too stupid. Yeah, this guy's a winner at parties, I'm sure.
Think that they finally understood politics. He made people strut around proud of themselves, thinking that they had a grasp of the issues, because they could tell on some level that Trump wasn't much smarter than they were, but there he was, a big shot. So he seemed like a champion for them. Now, of course, all these people forget that they aren't rich. They didn't have a dad hand them the equivalent of...
I don't admire Donald Trump. I don't look up to Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump, he is something completely unique, and he has fulfilled what he said that he was going to fulfill to the best of his ability. Do I believe that he promised to do some things that he didn't do? Yes. Do I believe that he did some things that he shouldn't have done? Yes. But honestly, as far as a politician goes on his scorecard, he didn't surprise most of us with what he did because he said that he was going to do that. I got to give Joe Biden credit too. Joe Biden did a lot of things he said, even though that the Supreme Court found a shite ton of it unconstitutional. But I don't emulate Donald Trump. But I also know that Donald Trump's not stupid. Because if you sit here and think that a person who made it to president of the United States, who is a multi-billionaire, who has slept with some of the best looking models and has lived a Playboy lifestyle and has FU money and has his own plane and has his name emblazoned on buildings all across the United States, has been on rap albums, had one of the hit TV shows, all of these things. If that's what you believe, then you're selling yourself short. Trump is the only option we have, which is sad. That's not true. You have another option. Just don't get involved. Stay out of it. Don't vote. I'm telling you right now, don't vote. I think there's some people who shouldn't vote. I agree with this guy. There are people who are too stupid to vote, and it's on the Republican and Democrat side. Because if you think that people who believe that men can have babies, that's pretty effing stupid. Because I promise you this, a first grader knows that, and they're not pushing 73 IQs.
$412 million. And they can't do the things that Trump does, and they can't get away with the things Trump has gotten away with.
Well, that makes
even
him pretty
Trump
smart.
himself is not going to get away with them indefinitely. But the stage has been set, and this
It's been
is where
8 years,
we're at.
bro.
Basically, we have a fanatical core of low intelligence voters that are solidly behind Trump. They will back him.
Vote Jill Stein? No, thank you. I'd rather vote for Kamala.
No matter what
That's a lie.
he does or says, because they don't care what he does or says. They just know he's their guy. They understand him. They like him. He talks to them in a way that they can comprehend, and they are fanatical in their support of him. He has given them what they see as dignity and strength. And then...
nobody gave me dignity and strength. Strength was earned by myself. Dignity was instilled in me by my father. But there's also something that Democrats lack, and that's called honor. So for you to sit here and say these and disparage, 70 million people for somebody who I guarantee I've seen your backyard. You're living on a 1/10 of an acre, brother. You're wearing a standard canvas shirt from Levi or Van Heusen. You're not rich. You're as you are espousing that people want to emulate Trump, you're jealous of him. You think he's dumber than you, and you don't understand why your life is so droll. You don't understand why you don't have any hair. You don't understand why you look like you're 85 at 60. You don't understand why your wife left you and you don't have any kids. You don't understand why your user 270-309-3363-815 and are just so irrelevant that you're a number. It sounds like you're jelly, bro.
At the other end of the spectrum are smart people from all walks of life. I actually used to be a Republican myself. I'm ashamed to admit it now, but I know I'm not alone. I mean, millions of people who make sure that they turn out to vote against Trump used to be actual Republicans, because the Republican Party is now nothing but a loony bin of the very low intelligent.
Oh, okay.
And there's just no way that you can...
The very low intelligent. And this guy, his next line, has he said it? Because I know his next line. I used to be a Republican. That's right around the corner. I promise you.
Can be associated with them at all. So now it's going to be, some range of conservative
Hold
to
on,
liberal
let's finish
Democrats
watching
again,
this.
except that it'll mean something different than it used to mean. I mean, those Democrats won't be conservative because they're racist garbage people from the South. They'll be conservative because they have some other philosophy about the role of the market or of private enterprise or something like that.
What?
In the economy.
Oh my God, he's Joe Biden.
At any rate, this is the problem we have. It's basically now just...
Okay, I'm done listening to this guy repeat himself. Caller, where are you from? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, this is Melanie.
Hey, Melanie, what are we talking about before I go for the night?
Okay. Yeah, let me just go ahead and put this out there before Trump ever ran for presidency, right? When Katrina hit us in New Orleans,
yep,
John Travolta and Trump sent their planes here, filled to the rim with medical supplies, water, clothing, anything you can possibly imagine.
Yep.
Trump, under one of his industries, set up and paid full hotel bills to set up these people for places to stay.
Right.
I can't even, the amount of stuff that came, and you'll see his little thing on it. He never said a word. You never even probably even heard about it in the news.
Yeah.
When my grandmother died, the one that came in, who came in from Poland, my cousin, Chad, is one of Trump Tower's architects, worked on some of his buildings. He flew my cousin in and gave him a month off of work and flew him back here to come for my grandmother's funeral. And he paid for my grandmother's funeral. We never said a word. He never said a word.
I don't doubt
He sent a sweet letter to the family. But he paid for that.
Right.
And asked that we keep it quiet. But you know what? I'm tired of things like this going unnoticed and quiet because he's a good man.
Listen, I don't know whether Trump is a good man or a bad man or whatever, man. What I do know is from what I've seen, he does not come across as a person who's in it to screw over the smaller person. And we know for a fact that this is what's happening with the neocons, with the rhinos, and with the far left progressives and leftists, is that they are trying to screw over Americans. Donald Trump doesn't strike me as that. Donald Trump strikes me as a person who wants loyalty from people because he has been burned so many times in his life, and it leaves a horrible taste in his mouth. You know, I don't know what else to say. When people say the election was stolen from him, I think some of that's true, and it had a lot to do with the people who were advising him. Because I believe that if he wouldn't have listened to those people and continued to focus on the way that he ran for the first 3 years, that he would have been successful even through COVID. But I think people got the better of him. So I don't know what to say. All I know is they want to stop him.
Too.
They want to stop him, kid. And you know what? Everyone's like, the only choice is Donald Trump. You know what? The only choice is anyone but liberals. I'm sorry, because I don't care anymore. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the leftist party is one of sanity and one of American values anymore, because it's not.
No, and if I had to make a list of 10 things that what means to us, economy, jobs, security, the country's security, my safety at night. And you know what? He's the only one who provided that, because we don't feel safe.
No, and you shouldn't.
At all.
Real quick, Melanie, let me answer this. Darren Dabbs, who I see Darren all the time, and I like Darren. My allergies are driving me crazy. He says he was never a Republican. Actually, that's not true at all. Donald Trump was a Republican for a better part of his life. Donald Trump in the 70s, all the way.
He flip-flopped a little bit.
No, he didn't flip-flop at all. So let me give it to you quickly. From 79 to 96, Donald Trump was a Republican. Flirted with Democrat up until 2009. Did that predominantly because of George Bush, and he disagreed with the Iraq War. But also New York started feeling the pressure with Democrats taking over. Giuliani had done his thing. He was leaving. They put in some very DAs, prosecutors, state's attorneys who were Democrats. Mayor Hillary Clinton went in, we know that, and she ran in New York as Senate. So we started to see this switch, and Donald Trump went with where the wind blew because of his businesses. He's also having some financial problems at that time and decided to consolidate his efforts politically by getting some fat cats on his side. So it was more of business. But then he went to the Reform Party, and then he went to the Libertarian Party for a couple of years, and then he was a Republican. So for people to sit here and say that Donald Trump was a moderate Democrat, that's not true. He was a Reaganite. He was a blue-collar Democrat, if anything, and he has always been a fiscal conservative. So I don't understand why people say that. I would love to talk to Donald Trump right now.
Because I think because he funded Jesse Jackson's campaign run for Democrat.
I don't know about that at all. I don't know about that.
He funded it because the DNC wouldn't have him run. So, and then Jesse Jackson turned around in 2016 and stabbed him in the back.
Okay, hold on.
That's fact. You can look it up real quick.
No, I'm gonna look it up. I always do. Fact check everything. Donald Trump. I don't see anything on that. Where's your source?
Yeah. Jesse Jackson. And if you go through the Senate, he thanked Donald Trump for help funding his campaign to run.
No, Melanie, you just said he funded his campaign, not contributed to his campaign. That's a very big difference.
He said that he funded it. So
I don't see anything about I don't see anything about that at all. I don't even see him contributing. Now, it would make sense that, but if you're talking about 1988, are you talking about Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 1988. I can look up the FEC records, but I've never heard of him funding him in 1988. I know he had, I believe, a Senate run that he may have contributed to him when he was a Democrat, but that would be expected. He also he donated to Hillary Clinton too.
But I think he funded a good bit because they were shaking hands for the cameras, and Jesse was thanking him for standing up and funding his campaign. I watched a video, and that was like I said, years ago. And I think that's what people think he was a Democrat thing back then. But I don't know if he was even a Democrat when he did that.
Well, he was. I walked you through the timeline. It was right before 9/11.
Right.
That he switched. Okay. And he switched parties. I posted the whole timeline for everybody. I think on Thursday's show. Did Trump fund Jesse Jackson's campaign? Yeah, like I said, donating to a campaign and funding are two different things. FEC filings. I'm looking at it right now. Listen, I've got his campaign from 2011, 2012, not his presidential run. I don't believe Trump gave him a penny because he was a Republican and he was a Reaganite. But Jesse Jackson, I have his campaign finance summary right here. And I will go through it.
84 or 88?
88 was his presidential run. 2011, 2012 was I want to say it was a Senate run, but I don't remember. I know he ran for something. I'm not a Jesse
I
Jackson.
know 1984, right? Me either, but I had read that 19. So this would have been, I guess, maybe 1984. I'm not sure. I'll find it, and if I do, I'll go ahead and put the link on.
Yeah, because I remember him running in
page.
I remember him running in 1988. But you got to understand is that 80 and 84 wasn't 80 and 84 or 82. Reagan. It's 80. Reagan was 80. Yeah, 80 and 84. So and Reagan and Trump were very good friends. And I don't know. I have right here, I have his FEC filing for when he's run, and I can look it up and I'll let you know. But donating, understand this, donating to a campaign and funding for a campaign when super PACs back in 88 and 84, election finance laws were very, very different. Super PACs weren't even really a thing back then. So there were limitations on how much a citizen could give. So did he make a maximum campaign contribution? I'm sure he did. But Trump was a Democrat for a small period of time. He was a blue collar Democrat. He was a blue dog Democrat. He's always been moderate, but he was most surely a conservative under Reagan, and he was most assuredly a conservative when he left them in 2011. So.
Right.
All right.
Like I said, I just know what he's done for us, monetarily, without saying anything, for my family. I know what he's done for our state, Mississippi and Alabama, without saying a word. And nobody even ever gave him props for it. And that's fine. That was his decision to do it, But, he does things like this, but all you ever hear is the bull crap and the twisted word salad. I know. You'll never hear them saying this stuff.
I know. Listen to this.
It's sad.
Someone sent me a video. So, hold on.
Sound of Central Park, and what incentives would you require to make that happen?
It's very positive. It really is.
Do you remember how long it was into this
and
video?
And also psychologically on really showing what can be done for
Melanie, do you know how long it was in the video that Jackson said this?
Response to Trump's assessment.
No, I don't remember what video it was.
Impediments and,
I can't see because I got you on the phone. So
I remember vividly when Jesse Jackson gave praise for the black community and everything for him. I know, but like I said, I'll go through this video and I'll find it. I don't think he funded his campaign. I just don't.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean I won't look at it. And if he did, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care what Trump did in 1988 or 84. A lot of things have changed. Democrats were a good party in 88 and 84. They weren't horrible people like they are today. Mondale and Dukakis were two of the most horrible candidates ever. And I believe Romney and McCain were two of the most horrible candidates ever. So it's not like you can have a bad candidate and still have a good party. I don't have a problem with Democrats. I have a problem with leftists. Okay. I have a problem who malign racists with the Republican Party. I'm sick of this stuff. Okay. I'm trying not to cuss.
I had an old man, he was a black man, and he said, there is no race is like a social construct. We are all just shades of wheat.
Yeah.
He said we put the race card on ourselves.
There are so many things that I weigh a man over before the color of his skin or his wealth or his political disposition. I want to know if you're on my shoulder or you're standing behind me. I'm sorry. I only go
or holding you down or trying to stand on top of you.
Yeah, I only hang with people who go shoulder to shoulder. I don't want you behind me. I don't want you in front of me. I want you shoulder to shoulder. We'll both take equal weight for whatever's in front of us. Listen, kid, I got to go. It's too late, and I need to get out of here. I appreciate you, Melanie, as always.
All right, night.
See you, kiddo. Bye-bye. She's awesome. I love Melanie. She brings a great perspective. Folks, this is a good show tonight. We will be back tomorrow. John, I appreciate you. I think we're better now. You still got to tell me who the hell you are, because I think you're that guy. And if you're that guy, just tell me so we can move on. Thought we did some good things tonight. Thought we had some great conversations. I appreciate Olivia's contributions. It was a very good night just to relax. Folks, we raised $258.97 tonight. That is amazing. If we can continue to do that, we are going to crush our goal. And trust me, we need it. This is all funded by you. You do the heavy lifting. You guys take care of us and fund our show. So if you can't help, please do. Take care of yourself first. Put your oxygen on first. Take care of your friends, your family. Make sure your vacation's taken care of. But if you could help us out, we would appreciate it. You can go to linktapgo.com/thedumbshow. Remember, the Documents of Freedom boxes are back in stock. They are there. 150 sold, 5-star rating. It is amazing. And also go to wimkin.com. Wimkin are our partners in crime. They are our good friends. Jason and team over there are doing a great job. 9 million followers. It is social media. It is all 100% secure. It is non-censored, and you can have your voice broadcast without being fact-checked and censored. Wimkin.com. Go over there, put your email in, your username, and your password, and then just wait a day, and it will be approved. Jason approves everybody. Real quick, I want to play you guys and girls the new Documents of Freedom box, and then we're going to kick off. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me show. I am proud to announce that the Documents of Freedom are back in stock. It's a 3-book collection, leather-bound, by Arcadia Publishing. Starts out with the Bill of Rights, and it's the complete edition of the rights, so you can look up and reference anything your heart desires. Declaration of Independence, with revisions and founder images included, beautifully illustrated. And last but not least, what would Documents of Freedom be without the Constitution of the United States of America in its entirety? The box is handmade by PFC Flags, custom engraving, all 100% made in the USA from the nails to the glue. And we have a 5-star rating, satisfaction guaranteed, 150 sold, 5 stars or better. It is so important, especially in today's society, to ensure that the younger generation has these books available in the future. Get them for your family and friends, available right now. Head on over to thedumbshow.com/books. Thanks so much. Folks, one more thing before we go. Wimkin, I had already talked to you about it. Do me a favor, go over to wimkin.com and sign up. Roseanne was on tonight, which is great. Laura, oh my gosh, why can't I think of her name? I shouldn't be this. I got Loomer and Ingram in my head, and that's not, come on, news anchor overseas. She was raped by those terrorists. Somebody help me. You guys know her. Laura Logan. Thank you. Laura Logan. Roseanne is over there. I'm over there. Wimkin, and he considers us one of his big talents. Pfft, forget it. We're like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We appreciate Wimkin. We appreciate the people on Wimkin. They're good people. They are conservatives. They are Republicans. And they just want to see our country right. And they have opinions and they want to be heard. Go over to wimkin.com if you don't mind. This video is it gets a little cursy. There's some curse words, but it's funny. Give it a watch.
Are you tired of being constantly banned off of every social media platform for saying facts only to be proven right 6 months later after you already had to create a new account? Tired of Fuckerberg robot AI-looking bitch constantly putting you in Facebook jail? Or maybe a geriatric old bastard who shits his pants in front of the Pope became the resident-in-chief because his crack addict, traitorous son had complete media silence about traitorous actions and backdoor deals with the big guy. And those bastards ban you for sharing the story. If you said yes to 2 of the 3 above, you don't need to circle back like a failed White House spokesperson who has 2 alcoholic drinks for a name. Up in Wimkin, we think it's fair not to sell your data to China, even though their president is super inclusive and named Xi. We kind of have a problem with the whole harvesting organs, slave labor, and communism. We also don't compromise you or get your kids to do stupid and dangerous trends. So you don't have to find out secondhand your kid Johnny is an idiot. Look no further than Wimkin. Made and housed in the USA, Wimkin offers all the features of Facebook and more, with complete data privacy and safe for your whole family. Download us on your app store today and join the community of users who value privacy and safety. Wimkin.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. See you in the morning with some new news and possibly a new show. It depends. And I appreciate you. God bless, and take care of each other. And just remember, Nick Fuentes is an insult. Good night, everybody. God bless. See you tomorrow.
Adjusting transmitter output. This is is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show.
He got me too. He was in here a second ago, the little bastard.
We can agree.
I know that fly. Sorry, folks. There's a fly that's getting my daughter when she's playing piano. Sorry.